And good morning. Happy Thursday, June 30th, final day of June. Just a couple months from football. Patrick Brett, Jen Jensen with you here. No Bill Gunser today. He's on a little golf trip. I think he did put out a tweet yesterday of his first round. He's up in the mountains. I know he's doing some golf and then some Cherokee Casino. Never been to Cherokee Casino, but I would love to go. Have you been recently? Since the sports book was added, have you been then? Or is it like old? Oh, so it was recent. Okay, yeah. I've heard it. It's really nice. I've never. It's in Asheville, right? Well, oh oh I need to clarify where Bill is then, because yeah, I know that there's one. I thought the Cherokee one was near Asheville because South Carolina basketball is playing in like the Asheville Classic or something this year. That I thought was being played like right next to the casino. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check on that. Okay. Okay. I I guess we do. I guess we do. Oof. Yeah. Down to a science. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we are without Bill, so you get a lot of me and Jen this week. We will have plenty of room for you to get involved. I don't know if anybody's working this week. I don't know. I assume nobody's working tomorrow. I assume we'll be the only people working tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. We will be here though. So 803-404-6100. That is the number. Would love for you to get involved. You can call us on the Love Chevrolet phone lines. You can hit us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines, or you can come join us on the live stream, which we will get up and running here. I've got it. I see Dakar, Jerry, CW, Kellett, and David all getting involved this morning. David tells me there's a casino right outside of Charlotte. I'll have to check that out. And yeah, so we will figure out where exactly Bill is, and we will get into really a lot of football talk today. I got a bunch of summer topics, I think, is what I would say. Um, we will talk about something that was brought up yesterday when we did Brad Crawford's schedule predictions, which we'll dive back into that. We will finish up that conversation because we didn't necessarily get through it, and something was brought up pretty early on by I believe it was our texter Eddie when we were talking about what is the success meter for Shane Beamer, and Eddie said it's a rebuilding year. Any expectation of 6 or 7 wins should be fair given the right circumstances. Which that last half I agree with, but the first half I don't think I agree with, and I'm wondering if everyone else feels the same way. So, very simple question I'd like to examine further: is South Carolina in a rebuilding year? Is Shane Beamer rebuilding this program, or is because of a bowl game year one, it's just time to build? With a quarterback like Spencer Rattler, and with the roster in the condition that it's in right now, which is pretty good condition, is there time for a rebuild, or do you have to just dive right in? So that's going to be one question. Very simple. we'll get into a little bit of an NIL discussion. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to word it, but it's going to have something to do with Jaden Rashada and the amount of money he makes and his play potentially impact how these NIL deals work going forward. That's going to be part of the discussion. And we'll look around the country and across the conference because piggybacking off of that Shane Beamer conversation, is this a rebuilding year for him? Is this a rebuilding year for South Carolina? I do want to look at the other second-year coaches around the country. There's Steve Sarkisian at Texas, Josh Heupel at Tennessee, Brian Harson at Vanderbilt, Brian Harson at Auburn, Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. These are all the second-year coaches right now at programs at least relevant to South Carolina. And where do you feel that South Carolina is comparatively to them? It's hard to just say, hey, we need this many wins. So I've got the win totals for all these teams. I think my case is kind of that Tennessee and South Carolina, I think, are basically at the same level of expectation, of overachieving in year one, kind of all the metrics, but Vegas does not see South Carolina and Tennessee in the same light. Tennessee is a 7.5 over/under on the win total. South Carolina is a 5.5, and it is hard to do these two. You need to get schedules in front of you because some of these schedules are they're really just ridiculous. Like I'll read through Vanderbilt's or Auburn's schedule in the next segment, but their win total is 5.5. So my question for Auburn fans or just Auburn in general, what is the expectation for Brian Harson in year two? He's already on the hot seat because of a shaky year one. What can reasonably be expected from him in year two? But you look at their schedule and you say, well, their win total is 5.5. If he doesn't make a bowl game, he's fired. But you look at their schedule and it is just so hard to find 5 wins. They open with Mercer and San Jose. Okay, 2 wins. Then they've got Penn State, Missouri, LSU. By that point, they pretty much need to be 3-2 or 4-1 to even have a chance at a bowl game, because then they go to Georgia, go to Ole Miss, have Arkansas at Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Western Kentucky, finally a winnable game, and then at Bama. It's just a beast of a schedule. Road games at Bama, at Georgia, at Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, plus your out-of-conference game is Penn State. It's just what can they expect? If he goes in there and he beats Mercer, San Jose, Missouri, say Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and goes into Starkville and wins a game against Mississippi State, that's a bowl game right there. That's 6 wins, and that's some big wins, and that's really gutting out a 6-win season that most programs should be really happy about, winning 6 games against those types of teams. But is he going to get fired? Like 7-5 usually doesn't fly even at Auburn, but 7-5 would be an absolutely incredible season at Auburn this year. So I want to dive into some of these win totals, some of these expectations for year 2 coaches. I've got the list of first-year coaches, second-year coaches, and the relevant third-year coaches. And I just want to know, where do we see or need South Carolina to be in year 3? I'll just give you a quick preview. The year 3 coaches: Eli Drinkwitz, Mike Leach, Lane Kiffin, Sam Pittman, Mel Tucker at Michigan State, Dave Aranda at Baylor, Mike Norvell at Florida State. Some of these coaches have their programs in places that South Carolina would love to be. Obviously, South Carolina, I think, would love to be where Ole Miss is right now. I think South Carolina would love to be where Arkansas or Michigan State are right now, even Baylor, because Baylor had an incredible season last year, and Dave Aranda is going to probably get coaching offers this season. So just taking sort of a look ahead to if South Carolina does what is basically expected, which is go to a bowl game, maybe not overachieve, maybe Spencer Rattler comes back, maybe he doesn't. Just kind of looking ahead and gauging expectations for what you want this program to be looking like in year 3. So that's going to be the basis of part of our football discussion. I was going to ask just a very easy question that I think was stolen. I think it was stolen from either a Grill Bill or a Ask Keith Anything segment from a couple years ago, but I'm going to use it for this year. So that will be coming up as well. We're going to have number 14, 13. I think we're well within the top. Number 13. Number 13 on the countdown. I cannot say what position because it will completely give it away, but it's an interesting one. And I'm sure many of you will have memories of this player. I don't have too many memories of them as a college player. I actually have no memories of them as a college player, but I do have memories of them as an NFL player. Recent memories of them as an NFL player. So that will be coming up. And we'll also have Kerry Tharp at his usual time, 8:40. Where we racing this weekend? I don't even know. Road course this weekend. That is in Road America, which is bless you. Plymouth, Wisconsin. Huh. Yeah, looking at the track right now. So how long has road courses been a part of NASCAR? I like them. I mean, I basically just discovered this year that it's like a major part of NASCAR. Watching the Sonoma race, I heard Tony Stewart and all those guys doing the pregame talking about how they keep adding more and more, and it's something that you have to be able to do. But I literally thought I thought the whole thing was just you just turn left the whole time, and now they're doing like full on courses, and that was part of the reason that I watched. Well, mostly it was because of the Netflix show, but I thought Formula One was cool because they're actually going on courses and not just driving in a circle. But NASCAR seems to be doing this all the time now. Yeah, they're cool. And I guess that does actually it challenges the drivers in a different way. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah, and we'll have 8:40 to talk about that. We'll go over how the picks went last week. Jen won last week, I believe. So yes, there we go. Okay. Wow. And Bill operates as anybody can win except Reggie because he's the hot hand this year. I think that's basically how it's going. So yeah, Bill not doing well, and of course not here again. I think that's exactly what happened last time Bill was out. No, he does not. No, he does not. But in any manner, Kerry will be on 8:40 and handle this as well. So we got a lot to get to. A lot of football talk this morning. A little bit of live golf talk. We'll probably get back into the ACC scheduling thing. There's a lot to bounce around to, but anything you would like to add, 803-404-6100. Phone lines will be open pretty much all morning. Text line will be open all morning. And please come join us on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Just type in 1075 The Game, and you will find us there. We'll be back in a minute. It's the early game, 1075 The Game. All right. In 1949, Hall of Famer Red Byron won a 40-lap race on the Daytona Beach road course. I agree with you. Bullet. All right.
Okay.
Is this in program 1? Like the two things that always happen with that is Jay unplugs the green aux cord.
Okay. And then make sure
and
the
then make sure it's in
headphone amp
program.
is one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me double check. And I'm pulling that audio.
Okay, thank you.
1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. With Bill Gunter, Patrick Caress, and Jen Jensen. On your home of the Gamecocks. The early game. 1075 The Game.
And you're up.
6:22 on a Thursday morning, final day of June. Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen with you. It's the early game, the Bill Gunterless early game for the next 2 days. We'll be back on Tuesday after a 2-day break and a long weekend for the 4th of July holiday. We will carry you through the next 5.5 hours or so. Going to be a lot of South Carolina football talk. The first segment I asked, is this a rebuilding year for Shane Beamer? Because that came up on the text line yesterday. And I just think the timeline's changed in college football. Dakar on the live stream says, honestly, this should be a rebuilding year. But with the players we have and all new players, expectations will be higher. And that's completely true. That's just the nature of the beast now in college football. There's just not time. There's not time to wait. And I think it used to be year 4, everything would really get rolling, and year 5 was kind of the make it or break it year, I guess, for coaches. But there's a Wikipedia page that I was looking at that just has all of the coaches in the FBS and the year sorted. I have them sorted by the year they were hired. And you go back 4 years, and these coaches are basically either killing it or about to get fired. And most of them have already. Most of the coaches that were hired then were already fired. Like Jamie Chadwell was hired 4 years ago, and he has got that thing absolutely rolling in Conway. The coaches that are on the hot seat, I mean, Scott Satterfield is in year 4, and it feels like everything is just starting to click because Louisville is putting together a amazing class right now, an amazing 2023 class. It's far better than South Carolina's. It's ranked higher. The average per ranking is higher. If they lose Ruben Owens, I don't know. The number 1 running back in the country, Ruben Owens from Texas, just inexplicably is going to Louisville. If they lose him, that will hurt. But I don't know. I don't have any reason to believe that they will, but it seems so wild that he's committed there that I almost don't believe that he's going to end up in a Louisville uniform. So maybe that's just me being skeptical, but yeah, they're doing a great job. Jeff Collins is about to get fired. I kind of like Jeff Collins. I like his pitch. I like him completely embracing the city of Atlanta on behalf of Georgia Tech. I think he's from that area. Pretty sure because the way he talks about it is like he is from Georgia. So he tries to get like Waffle House and Coca-Cola and all of the Georgia brands involved. So I do appreciate that. But he's won 3 games each of the last 3 years. So he's going to get fired. There's no more time for that. And even if you just go to the coaches hired in 2020, like Eli Drinkwitz, because he coaches at Missouri, is probably safe no matter what happens this year. But sounds like people are starting to sort of sour on him. But Lane Kiffin got Ole Miss rolling. Ole Miss has a really tough schedule this year. Can they keep it going? If they can get to double-digit wins this year, it will be absolutely incredible. Sam Pittman has Arkansas in a really good spot. Granted, he has great assistants too. Will he be able to keep it going once he loses Kendall Briles or Barry Odom? We'll see. But yeah, the timeline has just changed in college football because of the transfer portal. I mean, I don't see a world where you can say South Carolina has the best quarterback or the most talented quarterback they've ever had, but it's a rebuilding year, so don't expect too much. It's really hard. It's really hard to convince people that we don't need to expect too much, and that's a hard messaging for Shane Beamer. And I'll be interested to see how he handles SEC Media Days next month, because there is a level to which you need to manage expectations, but you also need to excite the fan base. And I don't think he needs to stoke the flames of this fan base anymore. I think everybody's very excited. I don't know if it's in his nature though to come in and say, yeah, I mean, it's a really tough schedule. We're gonna struggle to get to a bowl game. Like, if we can get to a bowl game, I'll be really happy. I don't think he'd ever admit that, but that's just the way it is. Just no time. I mean, look at Tennessee last year. They're now a 7.5 win total. If Tennessee wins 7 games after basically taking college football world by storm last year, winning the Music City Bowl. I can't remember who won that game. It was them and Purdue. Hendon Hooker back. Just supposed to be a high-powered offense. If they can't even match what they did last year, people are going to be upset. It's just there's so little room for error. So that's my question to you. What will be disappointing? Is it a rebuilding year for Shane Beamer? That's basically going to be the question of the day. And then I'll ask this, and I'll just see what some of the responses are. I don't remember if Real Biller asked Keith anything, but there was a question that I thought was great, and something reminded me of it yesterday. So here's the question: if you could add any player from college football to this USC roster, who would it be? Any player in the country, this USC roster, who would it be? 803-404-6100, and I'll get to the phones next segment because Gamecock Larry is on hold, but we got to get to a break. But if you could add any player in the country to the South Carolina roster, who would it be? I think the obvious choices, people start to think about quarterbacks, but South Carolina has a quarterback. So I think that makes this question inherently more interesting this year. Would it be a running back? You go Bijan Robinson, Travion Henderson from Ohio State. You say we want Will Anderson. We want to rush the passer. Just an interesting question. What is South like? Take this a lot of different ways. What are South Carolina's biggest weak spots? Would you want an offensive lineman? Just grab some guy from Wisconsin or something like that, or do you want to go big swing? Do you want to get Jordan Addison and make sure that the wide receiver position is locked up and Spencer Rattler has that connection? So you could add one player to South Carolina's roster. Who would it be? Think about that. 803-404-6100. Give us a call. Give us a text. Join us on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. 1075 The Game is where you can find that. Click and subscribe. We'll be right back. It's here, 1075 The Game. Do I have Kenny here? Oh, 826.
#29, running back Mike Davis.
That Georgia fella can run. Good gracious.
Number 28, defensive back J.C. Horn.
Now Nick throws into traffic, and it's intercepted. There's J.C. Horn again making a play.
Number 27, wide receiver Brian Edwards.
And with that touchdown reception of 23 yards, Brian Edwards has become the all-time leader in receiving yards at South Carolina.
Number 26, defensive back Sheldon Brown.
Reese swings it out to Bush, and the ball is knocked away, and an incomplete pass, and a crunching hit put on by Sheldon Brown, and Bush takes a while to get up.
It's 1075 The Game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 1075
The Game.
1075 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Not seeing any accidents out there this morning. No major slowdowns to speak of right now. So that's good news for your Thursday morning. And your forecast for today, going to get rid of some of this fog early this morning and then looking for maybe a chance for some isolated storms popping up. Today's high 87, looking for a high tomorrow of 83 with some afternoon and evening storms possible. Again, those chances for rain pop in on Saturday as well. But right now, it's overcast, a little patchy dense fog out there, 72 at 1075 The Game.
Want the news without the noise? News Nation is news for all America, reporting all sides, no spin, and no agendas. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find News Nation on your television provider.
I'm Kayla Burton with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Day 2 of the disciplinary hearing that will determine if Deshaun Watson will face a league suspension is in the books. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports the plan is to be back at it again Thursday in front of Judge Sue Robinson, with a decision on Watson's fate expected by training camp. Commanders rookie Sam Howell says this is the first time he has not gone into a season as a starting quarterback since 7th grade. But the rookie says even with Carson Wentz entrenched as the starter in Washington, he plans to prepare as if he is starting, adding, quote, "When my name is called, I'll be ready." And finally, the Eagles made a splash with the addition of wide receiver A.J. Brown, and running back Miles Sanders has high praise for his new teammate, telling CBS Sports, quote, "We all feel like we're on an all-star team. We feel unstoppable." He also praised head coach Nick Sirianni for, quote, "keeping the vibes right." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll love what you find, especially our totally low prices.
I'm firing up the grill for burgers and want to impress the neighbors.
This bourbon has a smoky flavor that'll go great with your grilling.
Nice. Wow. And look at that price. Well done.
I prefer medium rare. Your neighbors will love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. With the lowest prices in South Carolina. Drink responsibly, be 21.
Thousands of people contact InventHelp monthly about their invention or new product. Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Call InventHelp now. Best of all, the call and information are free. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential, explaining every step of the invention process. Join people just like you who made the call to InventHelp.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
So in life, throws you uh-ohs. Just say, better get Mako.
And visit the paint and auto body experts at Mako today.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
And what we are talking about is a lot of college football this morning. Started out with the discussion. Simple question. Is Shane Beamer in a rebuilding year? Is year two, which is traditionally a rebuilding year for Shane Beamer, or are the expectations different because you overachieved in year one? And to be fair, it was very close to being a really poor year. I mean, you had, just imagine a couple things don't go your way, a missed field goal against East Carolina, a miraculous Zeb Nolan comeback against Vanderbilt in the last minute where you had no business winning that game and trailed for basically 58 minutes. Just right there, that's 2 games and you're not bowl eligible. You've lost to 2 bad teams. How different does the season make it right there? And then you also factor in how different does the season go with huge wins against Auburn and Florida at home in raucous environments because the fan base was excited. If you lose a game like Vanderbilt, is the energy the same? Do they win that game? Does the team come out with the same energy? So yeah, it was last year a bit of fool's gold. And you say, look, you can't expect all the bounces to go your way every single year. It's just an interesting question. So that was the discussion for the first half hour or so of the show. Before the last break, I posed the question, if you could add one player from college football, any team in the nation, to South Carolina's roster this year, which player would you add? What would most improve the team? And there's a lot of different ways you can go. You can say this is our biggest area of weakness, or just I think this player is so good that we just need him on the team. We've gotten some good responses so far. The first one would be Gene saying just add any starting defensive lineman from Georgia. And that's usually a good place to start. That's a fair answer. Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle for Georgia, who was actually the best of all of their defensive linemen last year, even though Jordan Davis won in the first round, even though Devontae Wyatt went in the first round to the Packers, Jordan Davis to the Eagles. Jalen Carter was mostly regarded as the best of all of them, and he'll be back this year, and he'll be, in all likelihood, a top 10 pick. So is that what you would want? Do you think South Carolina could use, above all else, an established beast of a defensive tackle? Because they are set there to an extent where you say there's a lot of guys that I'm interested to see what they can do, but they don't have that one guy that you say, I know every Saturday he's going to come in and he's going to utterly dominate. But this is a big year for a lot of guys, and we've talked about it. Zach Pickens, you feel really good about. He's going to be an NFL guy. Is he going to be a game record 12 weeks of the year? That's really going to be the question that determines how many millions of dollars he makes next year. But who's going to play next to him? Is it going to be the big step forward for Alex Huntley? Is it going to be some combination of Tonka Hemingway, Rick Sandage, guys that have been in this program for a couple years, but need to really finally take hold of a position and just run with it? So do you feel good about the defensive tackle group? Or if that question arose, or if there was just, if every player in college football was in the transfer portal and you had one spot left, who are you taking? So is that the direction you go? We also got an answer of which I think a lot of people would probably be leaning towards, was offensive line. I don't know how to say this name. Billy from Blythewood says Emil Akiyor, the guard from Alabama. So is that the direction you go? You just say, look, we need an offensive lineman. We need to do whatever we can to shore up the offensive line. But then for the sake of this completely hypothetical, non-realistic question, that also becomes hard to quantify, because does one offensive lineman move the needle for a whole offensive line group that wasn't very good last year? when the whole talking point of this offensive line this year has been, hey, the one thing we have is continuity. And if all else fails, they're at least going to have played together. They're going to understand each other, understand each other's tendencies, know each other's jobs, be in the right space. Maybe that makes you feel better. So if you just add one, because somebody said, I don't know any names. Bobby said, I don't know any names, but find me a huge left tackle. I mean, I think Ohio State has a huge left tackle. But if you just add like a 6'8", 350-pound, DeJuan Jones. If you just add a 350-pound, 6'8", 360-pound is what DeJuan Jones, offensive lineman for Ohio State, is from Indianapolis. 6'8", 360 pounds. I mean, that is an enormous human being. But if you just add an athletic 6'8", 360-pounder, does it automatically make the whole offensive line better in a way that completely changes your offense? Or does he have to get integrated and things are going to be slow in that process too? So another interesting, someone texts whoever the best left tackle in the country is. So while that's the position group that you're most concerned about, is it one that can best be fixed by just adding one body? I kind of think that, a pass rusher, I think Craig said edge rusher on the live stream. And he mentions on the interior, interested to see Nick Barrett too. Definitely interested to see Nick Barrett. But edge rusher is one that can just impact a game by himself. But again, all these, you just go back and you look at the South Carolina roster and you say, okay, well, Will Anderson is maybe the best player in college football. Would be nice to have him on your roster, wouldn't it? Yes. But you've got the Jordans. You've got Jordan Strawn and Jordan Birch that you've both feel good about. I think Strawn was a little more productive last year, but Birch, obviously, one of the most highly decorated prospects South Carolina has ever signed. And you have to feel comfortable with him taking that big step this year. Does Jordan Birch's ceiling, does that make it such that you say, I don't even want an edge rusher, I just want to see what Jordan Birch can do for 12 years? So just an interesting question. There's so many directions you could go with it. I think everyone tends to go on the lines, but then you could say, okay, well, what about the secondary? There's bodies in the secondary, but I think we're kidding ourselves if we know exactly what the starting group in the secondary is going to be. I think if I had to guess, it would be Cam Smith and Darius Rush at corner. But do you want to do something like, hey, give me Eli Ricks from Alabama, formerly of LSU, now at Alabama, and say we now have the best cornerback tandem in the country? Do you want to go get another safety? You want to go get Jordan Battle from Alabama? We could just play the game of which Alabama player would you like to be on the South Carolina roster, and say we've got Devontae Reed and we've got Jordan Battle. We've got the best safety duo in the country. There's a lot of ways you could go with it. There's a lot of South Carolina's roster is just in such an interesting place where you feel really good about a couple groups, and then most of the groups you like who's coming up, but you're just not so sure. Like I said, Jordan Birch is right there. You're not so sure what to expect. I think we know what to expect from the tight end room. I think we know that Austin Stockner is going to be good, and we know Jaheim Bell is going to be really good. We like the wide receiver group. We're pretty sure Juice Wells is going to be good, but we're not 100% sure. The secondary group, Devontae Reed transferring from Central Michigan, we think he's going to be good. But again, we've been jaded a little bit at times by guys coming in here and just not performing up to the level that we expected. And it's our fault to an extent for hyping them up too much, but it's just a big jump to come to the SEC. And no matter what, when you're switching schools, switching schemes, it's never easy. So continue talking about that. We got more texts starting to come in. I'll read those off as we go. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap up hour number one. Gamecock Larry, hang on one more segment. I forgot about you, but we will get to you in the next segment. That is my promise. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
Here's what's coming up on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Thursday halftime show. Our good friend John Whittle will join us from the Big Spur, talk Gamecock baseball, some comings, some goings. Terry, John's take on the Julian Bosnick news will be interesting. He's well connected, but I still think this one caught a lot of folks a little off guard.
Well, as we were speaking, doing our promo for Thursday, 50 guys could be in the transfer
That's
portal.
right, yeah. It could all change by the time we talk to John. We'll get the latest on what's going on with Deshaun Watson in his hearing, Braves, Phillies, and number 13 on the Gamecock football countdown, which means we're getting close to 12. Because, again, I can do math.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still looking good out on the highways. No accidents to report at this time. A little patchy dense fog in some areas, so just be cautious of that. Could see an isolated shower or thunderstorm today. Off and on chances increase, as the day goes on, of course. But looking for high today of 87, 83 tomorrow with some afternoon and evening storms. But it is overcast right now. 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell is the place for breakfast. Why? Because there's a new Bell breakfast box. This one features their breakfast quesadilla and comes with Cinnabon Delights, a hash brown, and even a coffee. Get your Bell breakfast box today at a participating Taco Bell location near you.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock football.
65 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online. Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
And ready to wrap up hour number one, this Thursday edition of the early game. Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. And let's go right out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. 803-404-6100 is the number if you would like to get involved as well. But as I said, Gamecock Larry's been on hold. And how could I forget about Gamecock Larry? Good morning, Gamecock Larry. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I just got a few things to say, but I ain't worried about 2023. We're going to be okay in 2022. We're going to play with what we got, and we go okay. I'm going to say 9-3. But until we lose one, I'm going to say 12-0. But now let me tell you something. I've seen something. Oh no, Paul Feinbaum out there running his mouth off again like he done 30 years ago. And I still got the paper, the Columbia Record, where he put almost a half a page in there about how sorry South Carolina was going to make the SEC. Kick him out. He tried to get the commissioner to kick him out. And it's in the paper. I mean, I got the paper. And he told they're going to be an embarrassment to the SEC. You can't win at South Carolina. Well, old Paul, I just want to let him know, I hope he get this message. Paul, you run your mouth off about the Gamecock. You say Shane Beam ain't got a chance in 2022. I'm going to tell you right now, you're wrong again, old man. I don't know. The Gamecock Nation, old timers. You remember this old Paul Feinbaum? Yes, sir. It's on Facebook. I think I pulled it up. I don't remember. But I'm going to tell you something. Gamecock Nation, the pseudo Paul Feinbaum down again this year. And like old Gamecock Larry said, this is my story, and I'm going to stick to it. 12-0 till we lose one. 12-0. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later. Have a nice, happy 4th of July. Go Gamecock.
Happy 4th of July to you too, Gamecock Larry.
He's not very good.
You sure did. Do you know about this newspaper?
The Columbia Record, I do not.
Paul Feinbaum took an ad out in the Columbia paper just to announce to the city of Columbia that South Carolina it was going to make the entire SEC terrible.
I'd be interested in reading it now.
I would love to see a picture of it. 803-404-6100. If you could just text us a picture of that paper if anyone else has it. I saw some people upset about Paul Feinbaum's comments. I didn't see it or hear it. I've read the article from On3 that quotes this one quote, talking about that somehow Spencer Rattler got brought up, and this was his quote. "That's the issue. I know fans are just going crazy over Spencer Rattler, but I talked to a coach the other day who said, hold on a second, he's got some serious flaws. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't evaluate quarterbacks, but if he can come together and he's got a couple of compliments, then yeah, they can make a lot of noise. But I do not believe South Carolina is going to have what I would call a breakthrough Arkansas-like season. I think there'll be better. They'll be better. I felt they'll probably win a game or two last year and got ahead of themselves." I think this is transcribed incorrectly, but that's the gist of it. Basically saying, hold the phone. Just because you have Spencer Rattler doesn't mean you're going to win the SEC East. I don't think I have much of a problem with what Paul Feinbaum said. I mean, first of all, what I do have a problem with is when he says, I talked to a coach the other day who said, hold on, he's got some flaws. Did you talk to a coach on the South Carolina coaching staff who's been watching him every day and said that? Because that's newsworthy. If you just talk to some random coach, if he talked to Lane Kiffin, who said, yeah, we have Jackson Dart, Spencer Rattler, we would like to have him, but he's got some flaws. Well, that's completely meaningless. We know he has flaws. He lost his starting job last year to a true freshman. Granted, it was Caleb Williams, who could be the best quarterback in the country. We don't know. But of course he's got flaws. Is this coming from just some random Joe Schmo who said, yeah, believe it or not, Spencer Rattler's not a lock to win the Heisman this year? Well, yeah, that last year told us all of that. So if that's what he's saying, that's kind of idiotic. But if he's saying something like, well, I have it on good authority that Spencer Rattler has not been tearing it up in practice, well, then we might have something. But other than just saying that, I think is dumb. But the entire premise of what he said is just because you have one guy doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win the East or win 10 games or whatever. So that was kind of the topic of discussion yesterday, and I've sort of transitioned it into a question along these lines. Yesterday we talked about Brad Crawford's 12-game South Carolina schedule prediction. We went through it game by game, the games he thinks South Carolina is going to win. It's a tough schedule. And here's another interesting thing about South Carolina's schedule. Here's another question I'll pose to you. How difficult is South Carolina's schedule? Because right now I'm looking in front of me at two different projections. One is by Brad Crawford on 24/7 Sports saying projecting college football's 15 toughest schedules in 2022. South Carolina comes in at number 10. And here's the write-up for South Carolina. Number of potential ranked opponents, 5. If you've followed South Carolina football long enough, you've heard of the Orange Crush that used to form at the back half of the schedule every year. Well, it's back during a slate that's well-balanced in terms of trouble spots for Shane Beamer and company. The Gamecocks will do all they can to avoid a 1-2 start with a trip to Arkansas and a home game against Georgia over the first 3 weeks before traveling to Kentucky and battling Texas A&M, a team South Carolina hasn't beaten since the Aggies entered the SEC prior to November. Over the final 3 games, the Gamecocks take on Florida, Tennessee, and Clemson during a season-defining triple threat. So that's from Brad Crawford saying it's the 10th hardest schedule in the country. But just yesterday, 2 days ago, Barrett Salih from CBS put out the SEC strength of schedule rankings. And on the SEC strength of schedule rankings, South Carolina comes in 10th. His write-up says Shane Beamer's Gamecocks draw Arkansas on the road as their rotating SEC West opponent in Week 2, which will immediately be followed by a home game versus defending national championship champion Georgia. They have road games in 3 of their Final 4 contests, culminating in a trip to the upstate to take on Clemson. The good news for Beamer is that the permanent cross-division rivalry versus A&M and late-season game versus Tennessee will take place in Williams-Brice Stadium. So not really saying that it's an easy schedule by any means, but going from 10th in the country to 10th in the conference is a little bit of a variance. And there's also a huge variance in Ole Miss. Like, the difference in opinion on how difficult Ole Miss's schedule is crazy to me, because in Brad's article, he has Ole Miss as having the 11th hardest schedule in the country. And in Barrett's thing from 2 days ago, he has Ole Miss as having the easiest schedule in the SEC. Barrett Selly says Rebels' Power 5 opponent is lowly Georgia Tech, and they get Alabama and Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl at home. And the permanent cross-division rivalry with Vanderbilt always helps their strength of schedule. If there's a problem with its slate, it's that Lane Kiffin's crew won't get a bye until November 5th, the latest bye week in conference. However, that means they'll have 2 weeks to prepare for the showdown with Alabama, which is never a bad thing. So it's really interesting when you try to do these strength of schedules this early and without knowing who they are. But just looking at a glance at South Carolina's schedule, do we just throw out, hey, we need to win 8 games? Or do we actually look at the schedule and say, actually, the schedule kind of shapes up pretty good for South Carolina this year? So we'll talk some more about that. We got a text in from Adam because I did ask the question if you could add any player in the country to South Carolina's 22 roster. Adam says I'm going in a different direction. I'd add Malik Knowles from Kansas State, a return specialist. If it's one player, I want someone that can flip the field and help win the field position battle. He's great on kickoffs and punt returns and was the Wildcats' second leading receiver. He's a Big 12 all-conference player. Adding him helps us in 2 out of 3 phases, offense and special teams. I do like where Adam's going with that, because rather than just shoring up one position unit, he wants to go in and just kind of change the whole complexion of the team. But to use Jacob's text, any of Ohio State's wide receivers is what Jacob said. Ohio State has the best receiving core in the country. They did last year. They've got the best receiving coach in the country. Maybe he's the best position coach in the country in Brian Hartline. What they're doing there to restock the pantry every single year is ridiculous. So Marvin Harrison Jr. will probably be the next in line after losing Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Jackson Smith-Njigba was already the best wide receiver on the team, so it'll be him and Emeka Egbuka, and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be their big 3. Plus, they've got Julian Fleming, who's junior, who was the number 1 receiver in the country as a recruit. So, to Adam's point, would you not just add Jackson Smith-Njigba? Because he's already maybe the best receiver in college football, can dominate in the slot, and was a return specialist for Ohio State. I don't know if he'll be returning this year because he's too important to the offense, but he is a very good return man. And when they knew that they had Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, and it was going to be fine no matter what, having Jackson Smith-Njigba return was no big deal. So is that the direction you want to go? Just add a dynamic playmaker. And if we're going that way and we're already on Ohio State, why don't you just take Travion Henderson and make him return? Go to Texas, grab Bijan Robinson, let him return. There's a lot of really good running backs in college football right now. Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State. Adam mentions Malik Knowles from Kansas State. I love Deuce Vaughn. I'd have him return. So many directions you could go. So yeah, if you and Buckeye Eric says Emeka Egbuka or Cam Martinez will be the returner. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that they would put Jackson Smith-Njigba out there because it's an injury risk. But if you get desperate at times and you just need the dynamic element, then maybe you put him out there. Lot to get to in hour number 2. We'll have player number 14, and we will have some Live Golf Tour explosive press conference. We'll play some of that for you in hour number 2. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring correctional officers, nurses, food service specialists, facilities maintenance, licensed mental health professionals, and more positions statewide. $7,500 to $10,000 sign-on bonuses for various positions available. The Department of Corrections has great employee benefits, like 6 weeks of PTO accrued yearly and police officers' retirement. Start a rewarding new career with great benefits today. Visit joinsedc.com for more info. Sponsored by SC Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
Attention, anyone shopping for a new Jeep, turn up your radio now. Announcing the special order $1 sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Here's how it works. Visit Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone and order the exact Jeep you want. Put just $1 down. Plus, we'll give you a $1,000 special order discount. No limitations, no exclusions. Just order any.
Do you just want to get that out of the way? No.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was something I can do or.
Yeah, I just click and add and remove it from the live stream. We can mute it too.
Okay. So I'm wondering if Bill got rained out yesterday. Well, I know he completed, but I wonder if he got rained out at all.
His picture looked that was, I guess, sundown, but it looked fairly.
Yeah, they were out in the afternoon, so I think maybe that helped.
Is it going to be raining today? I'm assuming.
Let's see. There's just chances today, like around here. Let's see, Cherokee. And where he played golf doesn't tell me anything because he could have driven to that, so.
Yeah.
Looks like it should be kind of humid up there. They're saying today in Cherokee 82, but the feels like is 92, so he should be good and warm. 40% chance of rain up there. He said something about wanting to be like poolside and having some beverages. I know that shocks everybody that, Bill might want to have a drink.
Well, yeah, his life is hard. He needs some time by the water. It's not like he lives at the lake.
Right? Maybe he was hoping there was like a swim up waitress or something in the pool. That would probably be his ultimate dream, which we're in the intro.
Your home of the Gamecocks.
I love me some meat. I can't stand myself.
107.5.
Let me finish, Bill.
The Game.
And kicking off hour number 2. It's the early game. It's Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. Bill Gunter will be back on Tuesday. We'll carry you through the next 5 hours, and we will all break for a long 3-day weekend to celebrate the 4th of July. First hour was a lot of football talk, talking about expectations for next year. Is it a rebuilding year is the question for Shane Beamer. My question at the second half of that hour, which we're still getting some good responses to, continue to text in 803-404-6100. That's the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. And also call in 803-404-6100. Same number for the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Who is the one player that you would add to USC's roster this year? And we've gotten a lot of different people taking it a lot of different ways, saying, hey, our offensive line group is bad. Let's just add the best offensive lineman in the country. Saying, hey, if you can only add one player, you got to add the most dynamic player possible. You need to add a guy that's going to be your star receiver. He's going to return for you, all sorts of things. Someone suggested the linebacker from Washington, who, according, I think, I can't say this name either, Edafwan Ulafosio from Washington. He's a 6-foot, 215-pound linebacker from Bishop Gorman High School, Powerhouse High School in Las Vegas. I think linebacker is a pretty good way to go. But as far as I can tell, the best linebacker in college football right now is Noah Sewell. Sorry, I was about to sneeze. As as far as I can tell, the best linebacker in the country is Noah Sewell. So is that the direction you'd go? Because I don't know how people feel about South Carolina's linebacker group right now. You like Sherrod Green. He's a good leader, and he's played well for you. But can you count on him to stay healthy? I do not know. And is he just consistent, or can he be a big-time linebacker in college football? Brad Johnson did some good things last year, but he's, again, a converted pass rusher, not natural to the position. Maybe this is the year that Mo Kaba breaks out. Maybe this is a year that Debo Williams can break out. It wouldn't have been fair to expect anything from him in year one after transferring from Delaware. But is that the direction you would go? Would you go linebacker? Williams says, give me Zion Nelson, the left tackle from Miami, who's from South Carolina. Zion Nelson is a good one. Remember, Zion Nelson had to start as a true freshman in his first game. I believe it was that week 0 game against Florida, and just got absolutely dominated and just thrown into the fire. I want to say I don't know if it was Jeremiah Moon or which pass rusher it was at that point. But yeah, Zion Nelson has turned himself into a great player and will find himself in the NFL next year. So Craig says our combined linebackers are combined 47 years old. Not far off there. So we'll continue with that conversation. 803-404-6100. Get some of your responses in. We'll get to them in a little bit. Need to transition in a couple things. There's a couple other things I want to talk about besides football. One of them we touched on yesterday, but more information keeps coming out about this Freddie Freeman deal. It's just a weird situation. So if you didn't hear, which if you're on Twitter, you definitely heard, Freddie Freeman obviously was in Atlanta last weekend for the Dodgers playing the Braves. Got a standing ovation, started crying. He was very emotional. Loves the city of Atlanta. 2 days ago, fires his agent, and information has slowly been trickling out. But the way I understood it was the Braves, this is from ESPN, saying that the Braves made a $135 million 5-year offer that was still on the table the first couple days after the lockout ended. Freddie Freeman's agent, whose name is Casey Close, who's now fired, told the Braves that's not going to work. He contacted them and said, we want this offer. No, I'm not sure what the counter offer was. We want this, and you have an hour to respond. Or an hour to decide. The Braves countered with $140 million, 5-year deal worth $140 million, and that hour deadline passed after Casey Close said no, $140 million is not going to do it. So the deadline passed, and the Braves thought, okay, well, sorry, we didn't meet his deadline. I guess that means he's about to leave us. I guess that means he's got a deal lined up with somebody else, and because we didn't meet it, he's leaving. So they immediately said, well, we're not going to be left in the dark. Immediately go and make a trade for Matt Olson. And once they signed Matt Olson to it was like a 5-year deal or some 8-year, $168 million deal. That's what Matt Olson signed for. So as soon as they made that deal, there was no shot Freddie Freeman was coming back. They weren't going to have the money for him. So then Freddie Freeman ends up signing a 5-year, $162 million deal with $57 million in deferred salary. So ultimately, he might end up making less money on this deal than he would have for the Braves in the first place. And little details keep coming out here and there. And yesterday, Doug Gottlieb says Casey Close never told Freddie Freeman about the Braves' final offer, which is why he got fired. He found out while he was in Atlanta this weekend. So it's not that rare to have happen in the MLB, but it has happened. Close knew that Freddie would have taken the Atlanta deal. So just
putting somebody's life. I mean, being an agent, that's to me a very stressful job, but you got to take into consideration your client. And like, it just seemed like there was ultimate greed with this guy, like, and almost a guy complex, like just, oh, I got this and I don't care what he wants.
Yeah. And because he's getting a commission. I don't know what commission agents get, but he's obviously just thinking, I'm getting the biggest deal because I want the biggest commission from Freddie. So if Freddie goes and takes a hometown discount in Atlanta, maybe the $15 million that he doesn't make from this deal, maybe it doesn't mean a lot to him because he's already stupid rich and has hundreds of millions of dollars. But to me, that extra 50,000 or whatever it would be goes a lot further. Also could be that, hey, Freddie's going to go live in LA. I'm not paying LA taxes. It doesn't matter to me. If Freddie loses half his salary, it doesn't mean I'm losing half my commission. I don't care. Go sign the big deal in LA. That's good with me.
Well, and
so,
I'm seeing here that sports agents generally get between 4 and 10% of an athlete's playing contract. That's some decent money.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial difference. And I'm assuming whoever reps Freddie Freeman is already a successful agent that has plenty of money, so there's no need to do this. But it's just it is just kind of a shady business, and you can really never trust agents. And I was thinking, I don't know how far we are from this getting into college, because now college kids are signing agents or having agents. How far are we? Is that the doomsday scenario for name, image, likeness when we have an agent, a coach call a kid and the kid says, actually, I need you to talk to my agent. My agent's going to be on campus this weekend. You mind? That's what I want to see. Like an Arch Manning send his agent to the University of South Carolina and say, yeah, my representative is going to come take a look around the facility. Show him what you've got. He'll report back to me, and just go ahead and tell him what your best offer is. We'll negotiate, and then just have the agents doing the phone calls. The agent saying, hey, actually, we're going to need a little bit more. Georgia has offered us $6 million. So that's what I'm waiting for.
That is so worst case scenario. And you know what? As a mom perspective, I just would want to protect those kids. Like, let me be their agent. I'll protect you. You may not get as much money, but you'll be safe. I'll protect you, you know? Ugh.
I don't feel like we're that far. I mean, the Jaden Rashada thing, which I have another rabbit hole to go down with him, they're saying that he got $9 whatever million. I don't believe it, but he was fielding all sorts of offers, and his attorney that put the deal together, or whatever he is, the middleman, said that he left millions on the table from Florida. I don't believe that either, but they're already basically negotiating is what it sounds like. Florida thought they had him, and then it sounds like at the last minute, Miami swoops in with the Godfather offer, and now Jaden Rashada is going to Miami. It's just, we're not too far off from that. I would like to think that coaches would say, listen, I'm not talking to your agent, kid. You're 17 years old. You're not going to have me talking to an agent. I'm an adult.
Oh my God.
Adult. I have kids at home. I'm not going to be talking to an agent on behalf of a 16, 17-year-old. Okay. But if that kid could completely change your program, if it's a Arch Manning, a Dylan Raiola, the number one quarterback in the country, who look, I get this kid on campus, and all of a sudden I am potentially a national championship contender. This kid could make me millions of dollars. I don't know. It is just a very, very, very slippery slope, and I don't know where it ends.
It's scary.
That's where we are. And it's been a problem in professional sports. It's not like professional sports is a clean business, as we see. Freddie Freeman, it's a stretch to say this guy, Casey Close, has ruined his legacy. But to some people, it means a lot to play for one team and only wear one uniform. And Freddie Freeman will never be able to do that now. Like that, I'm sure Freddie Freeman wanted to be a Brave forever. It's very clear now, especially. But I'm sure that when he was drafted, he had dreams of, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a Brave for my whole career. Maybe I'm completely blowing smoke and Freddie Freeman wasn't drafted by the Braves, but I only know him as a Brave. So I'm going to actually confirm that right now before I just sound really dumb. I don't think he'd played for anybody else. Yeah, he's never played for anybody else. He was with the Braves since 2010. So I'm sure he had big dreams of being a career Brave, and all those guys, the Derek Jeters of the world who only wear one uniform, Mr. Yankee, he was going to be Mr. Brave. Ryan Zimmerman, who's his buddy, just got his jersey retired over a 3-day ceremony in Washington. The number one draft pick in Nationals history ends up playing his whole career for the Nationals, bringing them their only World Series. Like things like that, guys love that, and that's cool. And
I think no matter what, with him having left, especially due to the circumstances and how he kind of got hosed by his agent, Atlanta, they're still, they will still revere him and celebrate him if he comes back. There's no question.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, he's for sure beloved. He brought them a World Series, and that's why you can't say like, oh, it's his legacy's ruined. But his opportunity to be able to say, yeah, you know what, I did it the right way. I played for one team my entire career. That just didn't happen. He left his team to go play for the biggest front runners, the biggest budget, the richest team in baseball. He went to basically go join the enemy, the team they beat on their way to the World Series. So yeah, he left his hometown team for the evil empire is basically what happened, and he wishes he didn't do it, and that's why his agent's fired. But that is the dirty business of professional sports, and I don't know how far along we are from that happening in college. So yeah, like I said, another dirty business that we're going to get into is the Live Tour. Brooks Koepka, Pat Perez, and Patrick Reed did a press conference together a couple days ago, and there's some good sound bites from it that I want to play, particularly from Pat Perez. So we will get into that. We've also got number 14. Is that right, Jen?
It is number 13.
14. Number 13. Number 13. Is that right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
All right.
13.
So we'll get into the Live Tour stuff, but right now we're going to hit a break, and when we come back in, we're going to play number 13. The number 13 Gamecock is the 30 for 30 of the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era in year 30 of the SEC. Number 13 is coming up next. It's the early game. 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still pretty nice out there this morning as far as traffic conditions are concerned. No slowdowns, no accidents to report. And we'll take that. A little patchy, dense fog in some areas. Could see some pop-up showers and storms this afternoon. 87 for the high, maybe some afternoon and evening storms tomorrow. 83 for the high, but certainly not a washout. Right now, though, it's overcast. It's 72 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Wrangler Jeans. Visit Wrangler.com for the best denim. Wrangler for the ride of life. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Ron Swoboda. Yogi Berra once noticed that the now 78-year-old former Miracle Mets outfielder was trying to hit like Frank Robinson. If you can't imitate him, Yogi advised, don't copy him. Only Yogi could say those things. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
At Wrangler, we know that life is all about taking the reins, no matter what's in front of you or which way the road turns, because life is one big glorious ride, and Wrangler jeans are made to handle every step of it. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Summer is in full swing, and the deals are heating up at Lowe's. Shop our 4th of July savings and find everything you need to celebrate the holiday and the entire season. Like our special buy Master Forge Charcoal Grill for just $128, valued at $169. Plus, kick back and relax with up to 40% off select patio and seasonal decor. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Valid 6/30 through 7/6 while supplies last.
Wrangler is made for those moments when your heart says go and you follow it beyond what's expected. Because when the heart calls, you gotta be ready in jeans that are made to move and built to last. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sponsored by Lowe's. Sign up for Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program and get exclusive rewards to help level up your business. Program subject to terms and conditions, valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms subject to change.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics regenerative protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John Ecton.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awds.com.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from two obsessed basketball lovers.
Kevin Durant, every time he hits send on a tweet, I don't care what he's saying and who he's saying it to, he's a loser. Twitter's a place for losers. You and I are on there all the time. That's how we know this. We're losers.
Yeah.
There's not a single person on December 31st when you ask them what your New Year's resolution for next year is going to be. They're like, you know what? I've been spending too little time on Twitter. I want to up those numbers.
More than just analysts and stats. Titus and Tate. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for the Old Timey Meat Market clip of the day. On November 30th, 2013, Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks dueled the Clemson Tigers under the lights at Williams-Brice. With just under 4 minutes remaining and Carolina nursing a 24-17 lead, the head ball coach decided to dip into his bag of tricks with Clemson at their own 26-yard line trying to stop the Gamecocks. Here are Todd and Tommy.
Under 4 minutes to go. Here comes Pharaoh Cooper in out of the slot. He switches with Connor Shaw. Cooper out of the Wildcat. Shotgun snap. Running right side. Cooper wants to throw it. A leaping catch to Brandon Wiles at the 10, 5. Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Brandon Wiles. Pharaoh Cooper with a touchdown pass from 26 yards out. Chaos at Williams-Brice. Chaos.
And that's our Old Timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 13.
Hey, my name's Ryan Suckup.
Suckup. And this one is good. Suckup attended Hickory High School in Hickory, North Carolina, where he was 4-time All-Conference and 2-time All-State performer. He was rated the 4th best kicker in the nation.
You know, once I came down to visit South Carolina, obviously I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the campus, the people down here, the fans.
As a sophomore at Carolina, he scored 85 points, which was the 3rd highest single-season total in school history. Suckup also earned second-team All-SEC honors and was named a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award.
But overall, I would say it was just the fact that when I was here, as a team, we beat Florida, we beat Georgia, we beat Tennessee, we beat Clemson.
His junior year, Suckup was named an AP Honorable Mention All-SEC and was once again a Lou Groza Award candidate.
And my Carolina is meeting a lot of my great friends here and running out every Saturday to 82,000 screaming Gamecock fans.
In his senior season, Suckup converted all 30 extra point attempts and was 20 of 30 on field goal attempts. Since 2009, Ryan has kicked for 3 NFL teams: the Chiefs, the Titans, and the Bucs.
Number 13.
Hey, my name's Ryan Suckup.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
And there he is, number 13. Ryan Suckup. I couldn't tell you it was a kicker. I couldn't tease that part of it because that would have given it away. Or would it? I just started looking at some of the numbers, and the instant reaction is, looks like people saying, really glad Ryan made this list. He's clearly an incredible kicker. He spent 13 years in the NFL after being Mr. Irrelevant. I think that was what he's in many ways known for in the NFL. I remember his name being called in the NFL draft that year as Mr. Irrelevant. That might have been the year that I learned about what Mr. Irrelevant was. But 2009, Mr. Irrelevant to the Chiefs. He spent 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 there. 6 years with the Chiefs, then was with the Titans until 2020, and has been with the Bucs for the last 2 years and is with the Bucs right now. He's got a Super Bowl ring to his name. He's made almost $30 million kicking in the NFL over the last 13 years. It's a good deal. And he's great. He's been one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL for a decade. And that's why I know him. I do not have any recollection of him at South Carolina. If you do, 803-404-6100, you'd like to share the biggest kick you remember Suckup making, the biggest moments, was what your memory was. Was he just Mr. Reliable? Was he, because that is something that fans that don't have it maybe don't realize. And maybe that's something that I think we as South Carolina fans might be underrating this year. The fact that Parker White last year would bail us out, where if you said, look, if it's 40, low 40s and in, Parker White's making this field goal. To have that confidence every time you go down the field goes a long way. And I think South Carolina's been lucky to have some really good kickers in Ryan Suckup, of course, in Eliot Frye, and then to Parker White. Having that security goes a really long way. But your reaction to Ryan Suckup being number 13, that's really high. That's really, really high. 13 for a kicker. I look at his stats from college, 98% on extra points. He was 104 of 106. Field goals, he was 49 of 69, 71% field goal kicker, and his scored 251 points. So then I looked at the other two guys of note. Eliot Frye was 161 of 162, so 99%, slightly higher. 66 of 88 for field goals, 75% field goal percentage, 359 points. All of those are higher than Suckup.
So the reason he was last in the draft, is that because, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the reason he was last, is it just because he was a kicker?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically.
Yeah, a lot of times they just won't get drafted because they don't need to.
Yeah.
Teams, and it's such a weird life cycle of a kicker in the NFL because there's only 32 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Most teams, not most teams, no one carries a backup kicker. So essentially you're lucky if you're on a practice squad and staying ready.
Mm-hmm.
But guys like an Eliot Frye, every once in a while a kicker will get hurt. And if he's an established kicker, like if Ryan Suckup gets hurt, Ryan Suckup's not going to lose his job for getting hurt. But they'll bring in Eliot Frye. If Ryan Suckup kicks an extra point, strains his ankle, and he's going to be out for 2 weeks, they'll bring in someone like an Eliot Frye, and basically all Eliot Frye can do is kick really well for those 2 weeks and hope that next time someone else gets hurt, they'll bring him back in again. And it's so difficult to latch on as a kicker in the NFL. And some guys can't break into the NFL until they're 27 years old. I mean, we're going to see that for Parker White the next couple of years. He's going to have to just kick every day, kick and kick and kick, and just be ready. And there might be one game where he gets in and has one opportunity to kick a 50-yard field goal, and the margins are so thin that if someone gets hurt and Parker White comes in for one game and he misses an extra point or he misses a field goal, that could be his only opportunity. So it is really, really difficult business. So for Ryan Suckup to get drafted proves how good he was in college, one, and for him to stay in the league for 13 years with a position that most teams are not happy with their kicker. I mean, the Justin Tuckers, where you're actually paying your kicker millions of dollars because he's so reliable and is an actual weapon to your team, that's pretty rare. You just hope your guy doesn't miss most of the time. So for Ryan Suckup to be ultra reliable for 13 years, it goes a long way.
You know, with the Bears and Cody Parker, it was like, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I know there's Ryan Suckup out there. Like, can we please not take him?
It's such a weird position too, because Cody Parker, like, everyone did their job. Everyone did their job except him. And like it's all that matters. Like it was not a hard kick. They got him close. I don't remember how close it was, but it was under 40 yards, I thought.
Yeah, well, and then he had those double doinks and all that nonsense, you know.
Yeah, and he was bad all year, and everyone knew it. So it is a lot of pressure, and obviously they don't miss on purpose. But just as a kicker, you have to always you're looked at under a microscope, but like you have so few opportunities to be successful. Like a quarterback, you can miss a throw, like you can miss a bad throw, and it could be a touchdown. You could say, "Oh, I wish I had that back." But if you're a kicker,
it's clutch.
Yeah, it's a 17-14 game. You only have one kick. You only have one chance, and a lot of the times it's the kick to win a game. I assume most kickers love going out there for the kick to win a game. If it's a tie game and there's 1 second on the clock and they say, I make this, we win. But the kick to tie a game, I cannot imagine that. Having to, as time expires, make a field goal to tie the game and send it to overtime. Because if you miss, everyone just walks off the field and you have to be the last one to the locker room and just be like, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That's my bad. Not an easy job. Nope. Not an easy job at all. But yeah, RL saying, so glad Suckup made the list. And I didn't want to say our player today is a kicker because I thought everyone would say Ryan Suckup. But he said, if you teased kicker, my first guess would have been Frye. And looking back at the numbers, I mean, that kind of is that's kind of my intuition too, is that he was the best. But as we've said, this list is clearly influenced by NFL. And Ryan Suckup is by far the best NFL kicker South Carolina has had. And there's a case we made that Super Bowl champion, 13-year vet, played for a lot of really good teams the whole time, has been consistent. If you count kickers as people, kickers are people too. He's one of the best Gamecocks in the NFL we've ever had. So Ryan Suckup, number 13. Your thoughts on that? 803-404-6100. We'll get back into that. We'll get back into some football talk. But next, we're going to have some live golf talk. Got some good audio from Pat Perez, Brooks Koepka, and Patrick Reed for you to play. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 25, wide receiver, Pharaoh Cooper.
Touchdown Carolina! Touchdown Pharaoh Cooper!
Number 24, tight end, Hayden Hurst.
Touchdown Hayden Hurst! 62 yards out.
Number 23, defensive back, Jonathan Joseph.
Jonathan Joseph with the interception for South Carolina.
Number 22, wide receiver, running back, Ryan Brewer.
Ryan Brewer, his heart is pumping right now.
Number 21, tight end, Jared Cook.
Newton fires over the middle, wide open for a touchdown. Jared Cook, the tight end.
It's 107.5 The Game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
No accidents to report at this time. Do have a report of a disabled vehicle, however, I-20 westbound at Longs Pond Road. People might slow down a little bit to take a peek, see if they know who that is. So be careful there. Again, that's I-20 westbound at Longs Pond Road. Isolated storms today, 87 for the high, maybe some afternoon or evening storms tomorrow, 83, but it's overcast right now. And it's holding steady at about 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Summer is finally here. That means the kids are out of school and they are ready to jump into the pool and enjoy their pool this summer. Parents, is that pool clean? If not, it's time to call Corley Pool Solutions. Every pool has its own personality, and you cannot just trust the pool store representative to properly diagnose your pool's issues. You need Tracy Corley with his 20 years of experience in the industry coming to your house each and every week week for a weekly cleaning with no contracts, flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals, and taking care and maintaining your pool. So call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. Again, weekly cleaning, no contracts, flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals, and the man himself, Tracy Corley, is visiting your home each and every week to maintain that pool. It'll keep the kids happy. It'll keep you happy. Make sure this summer, Corley Pool Solutions is maintaining your pool. 803-445-8109.
Hey, it's Heath. I'm here with Jacob Crowder, who we all know affectionately as the Mortgage Guru. Jacob's in his second decade advertising here on 107.5 The Game. He's helped hundreds of 107.5 listeners. It's time he helps you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to help the 107.5 faithful. With the new year, people are focusing on housing needs. If you are looking to purchase a new home, I would love to help you. Call me, 803-719-1005, or you can email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
With a fresh start in the new year, I bet people are looking to save money right now.
You are right. Rates are still very low, and people are lowering their rates and consolidating debts. Rates are so low on 15-year mortgages that the 15-year loans have become very popular. Call me today and let's discuss your refinance options. 803-719-1005 or jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com. My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
Jacob, give people that number one more time.
803-719-1005 or email jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock Football.
65 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harson and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
Being present and in the moment for family activities was impossible because Will Burt was so focused on the constant pain in his leg.
My wife likes to take walks. I always kind of dreaded going on walks because they hurt. The boys both play baseball. I coach their teams. I was going to do them and be in pain and be uncomfortable and kind of.
I don't know. Kick return highlight. I'll check that. It was not the drop kick because that was a punt return. That was Spencer Lanning from the Browns. I'll look up. See if I can find the suck up Antonio Brown one though.
So I think that's a good telltale sign that the Achilles is feeling better.
Don't be in pain another day. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
We're talking a lot of Gamecock football this morning. We just announced number 13 on the top 30 Gamecocks of the 30 years of the SEC era. And it was Ryan Suckup, kicker, currently for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A couple thoughts from him on the text line. Someone says, all I remember was him kicking bombs. Adam says, my biggest Suckup memory was the kick that got blocked against Florida. They ranked 6th, and you felt good with Suckup kicking. Kick got blocked, and we lost 17-16. I think Florida went on to win the national championship of that year. Zach says if Suckup was kicking much further than average, his lower field goal percentage makes sense. I don't know how to get the average field goal data, the average distance per field goal, but for sure, I think he's got the strongest leg, and that's part of being an NFL kicker. I would assume that he's got the strongest leg of him, Eliot Frye, and Parker White. 13 years in the NFL, hard to debate. But as promised, there was a really good press conference 2 days ago, and the Live Tour is going to kick off their second tournament today. It says 10 a.m. It's in Portland, so I'm assuming that's 10 a.m. local. So I'm thinking it'll be on YouTube at 1 o'clock this afternoon. But three new guys to the tour: Pat Perez, Brooks Koepka, and Patrick Reed all sat down with media yesterday, and there were some pretty good answers. Pat Perez, I don't really know anything about, but learned a lot about him yesterday. And Jen's pulled some audio. We've got some clips of this press conference, which was really interesting. I'm going to start with clip 2, and everyone's been asked, why'd you leave the tour? Why'd you leave the tour? And a lot of them give canned answers. I think Pat Perez probably gave the most honest answer so far.
Man, no kidding.
Yeah. So this is Pat Perez on why he said he left the tour.
I've been on the road since 1998. Okay. I mean, I've been on the road longer than Matt Wolf has been alive. I have almost 4-year-old. I missed my son's birth last year. August 18, I get a call. My wife's going to labor. I'm in Jersey. I'm getting ready to start the FedEx playoffs. You know, I'm 116 on the list. I can't leave. I can't miss it. I can't get back. I can't get there and back without spending 150 grand in private flight. I'm not doing that. So I had to suck on it. And, you know, I had to miss my son's birth. And, you know, fortunately I made the cut and I moved up my status by playing all right, but it still sucked. You know, I have to tell him one day why I wasn't there. And, you know, once again, I'm a 30 to 33 week guy every year. I've done it, and now I don't have to. And I get to be with them. I get to be with my family. At my age, this is an absolute golden opportunity for me. I get to play, you know, DJ's my captain. I get to play 7 this year, you know, and then whatever else in the future. It's a no-brainer for a guy my age. It's been on the road. I just had 3 weeks off. I feel great. I couldn't be more excited about this. And that's the bottom line. You know, the bottom line is I'm tired of being on the road every day. And I don't have to do it now. And that's this group, this opportunity has been, it's like winning the lottery for me. It's incredible. I couldn't be more excited. So
there's Pat Perez. I mean, it's hard to deny his logic.
It's pretty compelling.
Yeah, I mean, being on the road for 33 to 35 weeks a year is not appealing for a lot of people.
No.
Being on the week.
It is a case. I mean, there are other series like, okay, you've got the NASCAR series that does that too.
Yeah.
And they spend several days on the weekend and stuff like that. It's kind of a choice you make. But if you have other options that become available to you to make your home life balance better.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, maybe baseball players don't love playing 162 games, but there's not a baseball league that's going to pay you. There's not a baseball league that's going to pay Bryce Harper $33 million a year to work less. So
right.
Sorry that these guys do have an option of having a much easier and better life, but they were also like, they were kind of attacking the PGA, and we do have to take a break, but I'll play before we go. We'll play this cut 4, and then we'll take a break. Because Patrick Reed, I'll play Brooks Koepka later. Brooks Koepka, I was a Brooks guy. He was so unlikable yesterday, but Patrick Reed was actually pretty smart with his responses too, and they were not afraid to attack the PGA Tour, and Patrick Reed was the only one that said he did resign from the PGA Tour. So this is a little back and forth of him yesterday, basically talking about why they're here and what the PGA Tour could have done differently, basically not listening to the players.
Players for once is for what the PGA Tour could have done. What were some of the things that you felt like you weren't listened to on?
Basically everything that this tour has done so far. I mean, we have a smaller schedule. We actually have an off season where not only can we, get healthy, work on our bodies, but we're basically allowing ourselves throughout the year to, try to peak at the right times is when you're playing, rather than feeling like you have to play every single week. And on top of it, just the quality of life for us as players now, having less events, being able to spend more time at home with the family. If you have kids, being able to spend time with your children and not sitting there and having to play 3-4 weeks in a row, then have a week off. And during that week off, you're preparing, trying to get ready for the next week. You're able to actually now set out a schedule, go out and put all you have in every single event. You're not having to conserve energy ever. You're out there, that 1 week, you're putting everything into it. And, on top of it, we're going out, and the reason why we're able to do that is because our purses are higher. We're able to play and sustain not only financially to, for your family, but also you're out there playing and being able to play harder. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm able to play harder every single week rather than sit there and going, hey, I got 5 weeks coming up in a row, or I got 4 in a row. And then you're leading into a major, or World Golf Championship. Now you can treat every single event like a major World Golf Championship, and you'll be physically fine throughout the year.
Did you feel like you had to do that because of just the way the FedEx Cup was set up?
Oh, for sure. Yes. I mean, if you took off any period of time because you needed it for your body, you're behind now. Everyone's going to pass you in FedEx. So it was forcing you to have to play. And that's not doing anything for you mentally or physically. I mean, that's wearing you down. And you do that every single year. And no wonder why guys are injured, in their 30s, and why guys are, mentally tired. And you just see the grind on them because they're having to grind every single week.
Is that, you feel the same, Brooks? Like you felt
No, I
the
was
need
just
to play?
agreeing, like the burnout part of it. Yeah.
I mean, they get to play more often just to kind of stay afloat.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, it's Heath. Coming up on Thursday, we take a look at number 13 in the Listener Top 30 Countdown, the single name in the spot it's in that surprised me the most out of the entire top 30. Plus, Deshaun Watson's hearing goes to day 3. Do we get any answers? We'll talk about it all at 3.
Game Time with Heath Klein. 3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
No accidents to report at this time. Great news there, but we do have a little road construction on the shoulder, slowing things down a little bit. I-20 westbound between Broad River Road and I-26. And that disabled vehicle, I-20 westbound at Longs Pond Road. People slowing down just to take a peek, so caution there. And your forecast for today, isolated storms, 87 for the high, maybe some afternoon and evening storms. Tomorrow, 83, back to 87 on Saturday. Again, that mix of clouds or showers and storms. Right now, though, fair. Sun's peeking out at 72 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey, DQ fans, there's a new drumstick on the block. That's right. Meet the July Blizzard Treats of the Month. The new Caramel Drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard Treat and the Drumstick with Peanuts Blizzard Treat. Try both today, only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Life matters. John Wesley, father of the Methodist Church, accomplished so much during his life that it's almost unbelievable. He rode over 250,000 miles on horseback, studying his Bible as he rode and praying by the hour. He shook 2 continents for God, and his influence is still strongly felt today. What was his secret? He gave himself to God daily. Listen to part of his daily prayer. I am no longer my own, but yours. Put me to what you will. Put me to doing. Put me to stillness. Let me be used for you or put aside for you. Let me be full. Let me be empty. Let me have all things or let me have nothing. I freely yield all things to your wishes. And now, glorious God, I am yours and you are mine. So be it as it is in heaven, so may it be on earth. That's a good prayer. And this is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right, we'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm, located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. The first step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me, John Ecton.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Barrett, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The Game.
Of the Early Game, Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. Been all over the place this morning. A lot of college football talk leading us through our number one. We can revisit that as we get into the 8 o'clock hour here coming up. Is this a rebuilding year for Shane Beamer? Led off the show was the discussion point, because yesterday we went through Brad Crawford's schedule prediction, and part of the discussion was, what are your expectations for Shane Beamer in year two? What would mark the season of success? And I believe it was Eddie sent us a text saying, this is a rebuilding year. People need to realize that, and 6 or 7 wins should be acceptable. And that started a whole other debate, because I don't believe that you have rebuilding years other than your first year. I think year one was the rebuilding year for Shane Beamer. And I do, as we get into the 8 o'clock hour, I do want to compare him to some other second-year coaches and see what their fan bases would say, because I do get Eddie's point, but I do think Shane Beamer did himself no favors by being so good in year one, is basically what I'm getting at, where you can't go backwards. You go 7-6 in year one, you drastically improve the roster. There just can't be an expectation of going backwards. You just have to get better. And there are some coaches that are in much better positions this year. I would say, even though their records were flipped, Shane Beamer is probably envious of the position that Steve Sarkisian's in right now. 5-7 in year one at Texas. But what did he do? He got the number one quarterback in the country, and now he's got the number one quarterback in the country right behind him. So the leash for Steve Sarkisian is going to be so long, because he said he has tangible reasons to say, look, you got to keep me around. Look what I've done. You're not going to have Arch Manning if it wasn't for me. And I actually believe that that's true. I don't believe Arch Manning would be going to Texas if Tom Herman was the coach there still. I think that Manning is a different type of cat. I think he loves to talk ball. He's analytical. He's learned it at a high level from his uncles. And when he went on his visits, I think in large part, all the colleges were the same. They were all great. He even said Athens is the best college town. Doesn't mean he likes Austin better than Athens, but he's there for football. And I think that when he sat down with Kirby Smart, and Kirby started telling him maybe about how many people go to the NFL from Georgia, or how great Athens is, or how great Sanford Stadium is in the fall, this and that. Whereas Steve Sarkisian, what I've heard is they sat down and just talked ball. And Steve Sarkisian is a football genius. When he's on a board, when he's got a paper and pen in front of him, or you can just talk about football at a high level, it's fantastic to listen to. And I've watched one of his coaching clinics. I watched him talk for an hour about things that went completely over my head, but was just like, wow, this guy knows football. So yes, I do believe that Steve Sarkisian is the reason that Arch Manning went there, but they didn't even have a good year. And I do wonder if the fact that Arch Manning is committed, that Quinn Ewers is going to have another year after next year, they're having a totally different conversation in Austin, Texas. We're having a conversation of, look, we need to win at least 7 years. That's now the bar. Bowl eligibility is a given because we've got Spencer Rattler, we've got Jaheim Bell, we've got Austin Stogner, we've got all these guys on defense, we've got playmakers. This is the year. Let's go for it. It's the most talented quarterback we've ever had. But the conversation in Austin, Texas is more, this is a free year. Who cares what happens this year? Yeah, we got some transfers, but basically everyone's coming back. We'll lose Bijan Robinson, so what? Let's try and win the Big 12, but if we don't, shoot, our window is about 4 years long right now. We got Ewers for next year. We'll redshirt Arch Manning his first year. We'll have him for 3 or 4 years, depending on when he decides to go to the NFL. This is going to be great. So, yeah, I just think Shane sped up the timeline by making a bowl game last year, and it's really hard. It's really hard for any program or coach to lose more games than they did the year before and still sell, hey, we're growing. And I asked about the schedule. Do you think the schedule is that difficult? I look at it, I can look at it a couple different ways. I mean, obviously it's a tough schedule. It's always a tough schedule for South Carolina, but is it unusually hard? You have winnable games on there. I just, when you look around and you say a team like Auburn, their out of conference games, one of their out of conference games is Penn State. Obviously their interdivision or out of division opponent is at Georgia this year. That's really tough. They're going to be at Ole Miss. That's going to be a great environment in October. There's some schedules that are just so daunting. And I don't know if South Carolina falls into that category. You look at some of their games. I mean, Tennessee's got to travel to Pittsburgh. That's easily a game that Tennessee could win and probably should win, but it's not a given. So I don't know. Is South Carolina's schedule shaping up for a good second year that Shane Beamer can build off of? 803-404-6100 as we wrap up hour number 2. Your thoughts. The other thing that we talked about was I asked the hypothetical question, and we got a lot of good responses from this, and if you're just tuning in, you can chime in on this as well. I asked if there's one player in college football that you could add to this 2022 South Carolina roster, who would it be? We got a lot of people saying, just give me the best offensive lineman. We got a lot of people saying, just give me the best defensive lineman. We got someone say, give me the best defensive tackle on Georgia. Someone said, Will Anderson, end of story. There's a lot of different ways you could go about this. So tell me your player and tell me why you're picking that player. If you say an offensive lineman, that's obvious. I know you're picking it because you're worried about the offensive line. But strategically, does one offensive lineman move the needle that much? Or would you say, go get a corner to pair with Cam Smith, lock down the secondary? Would you say, go get a linebacker because linebacker is the biggest area of weakness on the defense right now? It has a lot to do with how you feel about the roster. I don't know. I assume most people feel good about the wide receiver position, but there's a lot of established wide receivers in college football right now. You got Keyshawn Butte from LSU. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got Jordan Addison. Bunch of studs. Is that who you'd want to add? There's a lot of different ways you could go about this. I haven't seen anybody pick quarterback yet. I assume we're pretty happy with the quarterbacks. And by the way, our friend Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider, I wanted to get to this because he did his quarterback rankings, his college football quarterback rankings. And he does them a little differently. He just looks at the game a little bit differently being a Vegas guy. But his top 2, probably top 3, is what you'd expect and what you're going to see most places. Bryce Young, number 1. CJ Stroud, number 2. Caleb Williams, number 3. Those are probably going to be the top guys no matter where you look, but in any random order that you would like. But his list does get pretty interesting, and I do want to go through that. I want to see where Spencer Rattler is. He ranks it up to 20. So did Spencer Rattler make the list? I'll spoil it. Yes, he did. But where did he make the list? That's what we'll discuss. lot to get to in hour number 3. Also, we're going to have Carrie Tharp, Darlington Raceway president, as we get ready for another road course this weekend in Wisconsin. Stick around. Hour number 3 coming up. It's the early game, 107.5 game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics Regenerative protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock Football.
65 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harson and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
You do not want to miss this. Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's huge summer sale is going on now. 15% off all cleaning services, carpet, rugs, upholstery, tile, and even air ducts, all 15% off. Use promo code SUMMERSALE at ZerustColumbia.com. Zerust is the right way to clean. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Are you a top HVAC technician? Are you ready to stop working and start a career? You can earn up to $100,000 a year with AAA Heating and Air. Quality candidates will have at least 2 years experience and a good driving record. You give them a phone call, 803-677-1500, or applicants can apply in person at the Lexington office. That's with AAA Heating and Air.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harson and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Connor spent 5 years in foster care.
Before I was adopted, I felt nervous that I wouldn't have a family.
But with help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, Connor now has the love and support of a forever family.
After I was adopted, it was amazing. I felt happy.
You can help find permanent homes for children still lingering in foster care. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
But we have a horse costume that we get in. I need somebody for the rear end. How about it, Bill? Come on over.
He's the rear end of the show every morning.
Patrick Perez.
There's a 0% chance that I will have a full wedding.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for your.
There's a 0% chance that will happen.
The future Mrs. Perrette to put her foot down and
she can try. My feet are bigger. Guaranteed.
And Jen Jensen.
William Byron referring to Joey Logano, Jen, as a moron and an idiot.
Yeah, standard.
Vocabulary straight out of the Jen Jensen playbook right there when not happy with how something ends.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
And 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning, last Thursday of June. Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. And Bill Gunter will be back after the long weekend. Just left to escape the earthquakes, I guess. See a lot of talk about the earthquakes. Jen, did you feel it yesterday?
I actually finally did feel one. I was surprised because I hadn't really felt many of them, but it was more of like we were having kind of dinner late, and it was kind of a buzzing. It was the one that was around 7 o'clock last night, and I just stopped. I was like, "What is that noise?" Like I thought it was something mechanical or something, and then I saw, oh, there's another one.
Oh, it was what, the aftershock? Is that what that is?
I don't know if it was just the earthquake itself, because somebody then went on. I went on Twitter to see if people were talking this. Oh, another one. So yeah, it was interesting because that was the first one I'd really noticed. That was in Lexington.
Was it when was it where there's like 2 in a week or something like that? I can't remember what the last one was, but we
had like 4 yesterday.
Yeah, that's because what you just said is what I pretty much saw everybody say, because I had never felt the earthquakes before.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone yesterday, I guess, was it just stronger? Did you see the rating or anything like that? I don't know what, but everything, Twitter blew up for about a couple hours of everyone saying, "Oh my gosh, I actually felt it."
Because that one at 7 o'clock or whatever was, I think they said 3.6. And
I think what's it out of 5, 10? Is that Geiger? That's the Geiger. Is that what that is?
It's a seismic. Yeah, is it the Geiger counter? Is that what it?
I thought so. The Richter scale.
Oh, that's
yikes!
Right.
The Richter scale.
What's
the Geiger counter?
What does that check? I don't know. Okay, so clearly geology is not our specialty.
Oh, Geiger is radiation. Maybe it's because I was watching. Completely different. Okay, Geiger's radiation.
But I have heard that term before. So like,
yikes.
So I guess the magnitude for.
I guess because I was watching Chernobyl. I had Geiger in my mind. Yikes.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. Is it up to 10 on the
Richter scale?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
But
803-404-6100. Let us know.
Yeah, we don't have to be smart in that area, but it's interesting how there's been so many. But I did watch something yesterday where they were talking to a lot of these smaller things are called swarms, and that it's just not uncommon. It's just we happen to be in a pattern of this. But looking at it, watching a couple of geologists, I actually retweeted somebody yesterday, and she was just explaining, yeah, this is kind of normal. It just seems weird, but it's all good. Like we're not looking for the big one, so kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's blowing up. Yeah. If Bill had said so, first of all, someone said radiation. You can tell you're young. Whoever you are, I now don't like you. I hate when people do that.
It's just something you're not exposed to, like why
radiation has not been a part of my life. Okay. My age has nothing to do with not knowing whether the Geiger counter or the Richter scale measures the earthquakes. That's called a brain fart. That's not being young. Whoever you are. Bad text. Now I'm mad. But yes, sorry. That was, if Bill had said that, it'd probably be on an intro here coming up soon. Yeah. Sorry. I was watching Chernobyl. I got mixed up. But I'm also in Nashville, so I didn't feel the earthquake. So 803-404-6100 if you want to talk about the earthquakes or sports or anything. We've talked a lot of football this morning. We've talked not really baseball, but we talked the Freddie Freeman situation, which is an interesting one. A little bit of golf, as we had some good sound bites from the Live Tour yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, with Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, and Pat Perez, who was a fascinating character. Yesterday, Bryson DeChambeau and some other guys sat down, but today they're going to tee off in Portland, Oregon, looks like there's going to be a lot of protests too. I mean, Bill mentioned what was going on, but
yeah,
just kind of reading the headlines, seems like it could be a weird situation today. But I will say they did their best in that press conference to say, look, all that stuff is terrible. Everything you're protesting is legit, but we're just playing golf. And it's enviable in a lot of ways because of their bank account, but it's an unenviable situation these golfers have put themselves into. But when you're going to make tens of millions of guaranteed dollars, these are the types of questions you need to answer. And I guess I don't really feel bad for him. It's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. It's I don't know how I would feel, to be honest. The connection of, the country that seems to be financing this tour and the history of things that they've done. I don't know. I don't know how I would feel.
It's tough. It's tough. 803-404-6100. But yeah, look, a lot of football talk. We're going to have Kerry Tharp on at 8:40. So about 35 minutes, we'll get him on. But get back into some of this football talk. Again, the two questions that led us through our number one, where is it a rebuilding year? Is it a rebuilding year for Shane Beamer in year two? Or has he raised the expectations? And now what could have probably been a rebuilding year, had he won 4-5 games maybe, is now turned into there's legitimate expectations. So we did get a couple texts on that. DC3 says he's building, not rebuilding. Just improve. Wins and losses will take care of themselves. But that's sort of the question. I mean, this goes to this text from an anonymous texter. I think expectations should be 8 to 9 wins this year, including a bowl win. Alan says it takes 4 years to build a program. That's why this is an interesting question, because these are relatively 3 different texts. If Alan says it takes 4 years to build a program, does that mean you don't care what the record is this year? If South Carolina goes 4-8, but they're close in all the games and they continue to get recruits, then it's cool. Then it's all good. And then for an anonymous text that says expectations should be 8 to 9 wins, because you won 7 games last year, if you win 8 or 9 this year, say they do win 9 games. Well, what's the expectation for year 3? He's got to win an SEC championship or bust. Like, you can't always be a win better. Everyone else is getting better too. And your schedule is going to fluctuate. It's going to be more difficult in some years. And that's kind of another question I ask is the schedule really difficult, or is this a pretty manageable year 2 schedule for Shane Beamer? It's a tough situation. So saying, like DC said, wins and losses will take care of themselves. You're building, not rebuilding. I agree. And I guess a lot of it just has to do with the eye test, and you can't necessarily judge off of results, but it's hard to say that if they're a 5-win team this year, they're going to get better. Maybe you say, look, bowl is the minimum every year. Make a bowl game every year. 6 to 7 wins is going to be the floor, and you can fluctuate based off other things. As long as the recruiting's still there, which we'll see. There's a couple big commitments coming up this weekend. Dante Reno, the quarterback from the Boston area, will be committing, and I think South Carolina is a heavy favorite for him. Dylan Lonergan, the other quarterback. Dante Reno is a 2024 quarterback, but Dylan Lonergan, the 2023 quarterback, was going to commit this weekend, but's pushed it back because of wanting family and friends to be involved, and a lot of people, I guess, going out of town for the 4th of July weekend. So he's pushed it back, but South Carolina and Stanford in the mix for him. Also wants to play baseball, though, which probably is what gives South Carolina the edge. So 803-404-6100, and the other text, or the other question was, any player in the country, any player in college football who you add into South Carolina for their roster for 2022. And so far, not surprisingly, the single player that we've gotten the most, because we've gotten a lot of just, give me an offensive lineman, give me a defensive lineman, I don't care. Which honestly tells me that a lot of people don't watch or pay attention to the roster movement in college football outside of South Carolina, but that's besides the fact. Most people have said Will Anderson. And yeah, Will Anderson is, all things aside, probably the best player in college football. Like, if you think the best player in the NFL, which I do, is Aaron Donald, it's the same thing for college football with Will Anderson. He's just completely and utterly dominant. He'll be the number 1 pick if the number 1 pick's not a quarterback this year, but the quarterbacks are really, really good this year. And maybe next segment I'll get into Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider and Major Wager, a frequent guest of this show, his quarterback list. But I'll give you a couple really interesting ones right now. His top 5 is fascinating to me outside of top 3. Number 1, Bryce Young, not surprising. First-year starter, Heisman Trophy winner, runner-up for the national championship, SEC title. did everything in year one except win the national championship, and Alabama is one of the favorites going in this year. It'll be them and Ohio State. So Bryce Young, number 1. Number 2, C.J. Stroud. Not a surprise. He's, I think, the favorite to be the number 1 pick as of right now. And then number 3, one of the stars of the offseason, Caleb Williams from Southern Cal, following Lincoln Riley, number 1 quarterback in the country, year 2 in the Lincoln Riley system, although in a new location, Pac-12 defenses, everything kind of goes in Caleb Williams' favor. I'm sure he'll have a big year. Number 4, though, I'll leave you with number 4 and number 5. Number 4, Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. And Brian writes, in 22 career starts over the past 2 seasons, McCall has led the Chanticleers to a 20-2 record, completed 71.1% of his attempts for 5,386 passing yards, and an incredible 54-6 touchdown to interception ratio. McCall's also run for 870 career yards, 11 touchdowns, averaging 4.2 yards per carry. So high praise for Grayson McCall. And then number 5 is shocking to me, but number 5 is Will Rogers from Mississippi State. Brian writes that Rogers enjoyed a breakout campaign in his second season. He completed 73.9% of his passes, 4,700 yards, 36.9 TD interception ratio. In 22 career games, he's got a 72% completion percentage. Only needs 2,600 yards to surpass Dak Prescott's record for most career passing yards in program history. Really surprising top 5 for me, because you look down the list and there's some huge names, whether it's Spencer Rattler, Hendon Hooker, Sam Hartman, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, KJ Jefferson, like huge names. But for him to have Grayson McCall and Will Rogers up there in the top 5 is really surprising to me. Is Grayson McCall actually better? Like, it's great. Do South Carolina fans believe that Grayson McCall is better than Spencer Rattler, or just better compared to the competition? Like, he'll do better in Coastal Carolina's offense relative to the competition they'll face than Spencer Rattler will relative to the SEC, or just if you swap them, Grayson McCall is actually better. I don't know. That's where these lists get a little bit murky, and I'm not sure where Brian stands on it. We'll get him back on the show here soon. Hopefully sooner than football season. We always get him on during football season to get his picks, but I'm really intrigued by his list. So hopefully we'll get him involved in the show soon. But we got to hit a break. Again, Kerry Tharp's coming up in about half an hour. We'll get some more football talk as we move forward. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Thursday halftime show. Our good friend John Whittle will join us from the Big Spur, talk Gamecock baseball, some comings, some goings. Terry, John's take on the Julian Bosnick news will be interesting. He's well connected, but I still think this one caught a lot of folks a little off guard.
Well, as we were speaking, doing our promo for Thursday, 50 guys could be in the transfer.
That's right. Yeah, it could all change by the time we talk to John. We'll get the latest on what's going on with Deshaun Watson in his hearing, Braves, Phillies, and number 13 on the Gamecock football countdown, which means we're getting close to 12. Because, again, I can do math.
The halftime show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And it looks like we do have a report of an accident, Garners Ferry Road, just east of Lower Richland Boulevard. Also, an object on the highway, I-20 westbound, just after exit 92. An accident, Two-Notch Road at North Grampian Hills Road. And some road construction on the shoulder could slow things down a bit. I-20 westbound between Broad River Road and I-26. Forecast for today, pop-up shower here and there. Might be a storm involved. Looking for a high today of 87. Some afternoon and evening storms tomorrow, and a possibility for a mix of showers and storms off and on Saturday. Looking for a high tomorrow, 83, 87 on Saturday. Right now, though, sun is out. It's 75 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Athletic Greens. One scoop of AG1 has 75 multivitamins to help you start your day off right. Go to athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. Baseball Commissioner Rob, 90-day lockout Manfred, told ESPN that robot umpires will likely be calling balls and strikes in the majors by 2024. I guess anything to speed up and ruin the game. Boomer Esiason.
Today's sponsor is Athletic Greens. With one delicious scoop of AG1 by Athletic Greens, you are consuming 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I take mine every single morning. I have done so for 3 months now, and I no longer feel that afternoon energy slump anymore, and I actually love how it tastes. I like to mix my AG1 with cold water in my shaker first thing in the morning. It is now part of my daily routine. In fact, it has been. And I love that I'm not taking a bunch of different vitamin pills anymore. It costs less than $3 a day, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, and no nasty chemicals. And AG1 is approved by many professional athletes and trusted health experts such as Tim Ferriss and my guy, Michael Gervais. Athletic Greens is also a climate neutral certified company, which is awesome. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first subscription purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. Once again, athleticgreens.com/CBSAM. I absolutely love this product. athleticgreens.com/CBSAM.
Sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. The tear in my driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt's molded to fit it. But I'm ready for a new one from eBay Motors with all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Till then, I'll just scooch. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock Football.
65 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harson and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
$8:20 on Thursday morning. Patrick Brett and Jen Jensen with you. Been talking a lot of Gamecock football this morning. 803-404-6100 if you want to get involved on the Love Chevrolet phone lines or the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines. Again, Kerry Tharp will be with us in about 20 minutes, so you've got 20 minutes to get your takes in. The question was, big picture regarding South Carolina expectations this year. Is it a rebuilding year is the main question. I said I wanted to compare South Carolina and Shane Beamer's situation to some of the other second-year coaches. And right now in the SEC, there are 4 second-year coaches. I added Steve Sarkisian on the list, 5 if you want to count them. because he's in a much different situation. So the second-year coaches that I was looking at, Shane Beamer, Josh Heupel, of course, at Tennessee, Brian Harson at Auburn, Steve Sarkisian at Texas, and Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. So I have their records from last year in their year one seasons, and then the win totals, the expected totals for this year. So Shane Beamer went 7-6 in his first year. His win total this year is 5.5. So already off the bat makes it an interesting way to look at this. And most fans do not look at Vegas as a way to dictate how good their team is or measure success. But in a lot of ways, using that as the bar, where if you go over every year, then it's a successful season. If South Carolina goes over that and they get 6 wins and they're a 6-6 bowl team and they have a chance to go win a bowl game and become a 7-6 team, is that a successful season? There's a lot of ways to look at it. What does that season look like? Is it, heartbreaking losses in Fayetteville to Arkansas? Is it playing Georgia tough? And is it going to Lexington and losing to Kentucky again, but you lose by a field goal in a raucous environment? There's a lot of ways to obviously look. There's a lot of nuance to a 6 or 7 win season, but is it bar none bowl game or bust? And is that even enough? So Josh Heupel went 7-6, but unlike Shane Beamer, his win total is 7.5. So the expectation for Tennessee fans is if they go off that same logic of we need to build off of year one and we need to go over the Vegas win total, Tennessee's got to be an 8-win team this year. And that's not an easy thing to do. So Tennessee's schedule, Ball State, at Pittsburgh, and Akron. So Pittsburgh on the road is a tough game, but I'm expecting them to be 3-0. Then they've got Florida and an early bye. October 1st is their bye week. So if they can beat Florida and first-year coach Billy Napier, they'll be 4-0, and they'll need to be because they've got at LSU and Alabama coming off the bye. Then they've got Tennessee Martin, Kentucky at home, at Georgia, and finish with what they should be looking at, I assume, as 3 winnable games with Missouri, at South Carolina, and at Vanderbilt. So 7.5, you start adding the numbers: Ball State, Pittsburgh, Akron, Florida, Tennessee Martin, Vanderbilt, and then they've got to win 2 of South Carolina, Missouri, and Kentucky. It always comes down to that group of teams. For Shane Beamer, it's no different. For Shane Beamer to get his 6th, 7th, whatever you want to say, wins, he's got to beat Georgia State, he's got to beat Charlotte, he's got to beat South Carolina State, he's got to beat Vanderbilt. Those are the 4 givens. But then to be a bowl eligible team, you got to beat 2 of Missouri, Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky. Kentucky's kind of in a different tier right now almost, but you've got to win 2 of those games, 3 to make it a successful season. So just interesting situation there in Tennessee as well. Brian Harson was 6-7 in year one. Their win total is 5.5. So if he goes over, because they lost in the bowl game to Houston, if he goes over his win total and becomes a bowl eligible team, but it's 6-6, is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough for him to save his job? Obviously, there's off the field things that have affected his job stability as well. But if he won 10 games in year one, no one would have cared. So Auburn, really tough schedule. I listed it off earlier, but Penn State is their out-of-conference game. Penn State beat them last year in Happy Valley. They've got LSU, of course. They're going to Georgia. They're going to Ole Miss. And then they've got Arkansas before they head to Mississippi State and play A&M. And then they've got Bama to end things. So just a brutal, brutal schedule. And how will Auburn fans feel if Brian Harson gets them to a bowl game, but that's it? And are you taking a step back if you fire him after that? Obviously, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Maybe TJ Finley, I guess. Maybe it's Zach Calzada. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. So interesting situation in Auburn. Clark Lee, really not much to say. Team went 2-10. His win total is 2.5. Just for giggles, I'll go through Vanderbilt's schedule. They've got Elon, Wake Forest, Northern Illinois, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee. So they haven't won a SEC game in, I think, 3 years. So with their 2.5, this is assuming that they'll beat Elon and Northern Illinois, and then they'll have to sneak up and upset Wake. Maybe the bookmakers look at South Carolina as one of those games that Vanderbilt can head in and win, because it is a home game this year for Vanderbilt. I don't think they're going to go into Columbia, Missouri and win that game, but just a kind of big picture look at all the second-year coaches and compare what the expectation levels are. And it's not just which is why I disagree with the take of it takes 4 years to build a program. For all these coaches, they're at different stages. Steve Sarkisian seems to be on the 4-year plan because Arch Manning is a year away. This is year 2. Next year will be year 3 of Quinn Ewers. If the plan is to be ready for Arch his sophomore year, or if the plan is year 2 of Quinn Ewers is going to be where we really attack things, then maybe it's a 3 to 4 year process, but it's not a 2-year process. And I think he's got some leeway if Texas loses 3 or 4 games this year to say, look, it wasn't what we wanted, but we're going to be okay. Brian Harson had a bad first year and has put himself in position to get fired after year 2. So a completely different situation. And Shane Beamer and Josh Heupel, I think, are in similar positions where they honestly did too well in year 1 that it's going to end up hurting them if they don't win 7 or 8 games in year 2. So just interesting, always interesting to look at the states of programs, the states of coaches, job stability across the country. We'll get more into that throughout the offseason. It's a good summer topic. It's going to be relevant all year long, and maybe things change. But I don't think it's fair to say that this is a rebuild when you went to a bowl game and then only improved your roster. And it's objectively better. It's better at quarterback. It's better at receiver. It's going to be a wash in a lot of places on defense, but you're returning your whole offensive line. It should be better on the offensive line. I don't know how you can expect realistically anything less than what you got last year. But we'll continue talking about that. Again, Kerry Tharp coming up at 7:40. We got one more segment for your calls and texts. 803-404-6100 is the number. It's the early game. 107.5 the game.
To celebrate Carolina's 30th anniversary in the SEC, it's 107.5 the game's 30 for 30. The 30 best Gamecocks football players over the last 30 years. Number 13.
Hey, my name's Ryan Suckup.
Suckup. And this one is good. Suckup attended Hickory High School in Hickory, North Carolina, where he was 4-time All-Conference and 2-time All-State performer. He was rated the 4th best kicker in the nation.
Yeah, once I came down to visit South Carolina, obviously I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the campus, the people down here, the fans.
As a sophomore at Carolina, he scored 85 points, which was the 3rd highest single-season total in school history. Suckup also earned second-team All-SEC honors and was named a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award.
But overall, I would say it was just the fact that when I was here, as a team, we beat Florida, we beat Georgia, we beat Tennessee, we beat Clemson.
His junior year, Suckup was named an AP Honorable Mention All-SEC and was once again a Lou Groza Award candidate.
And my Carolina is meeting a lot of my great friends here and running out every Saturday to 82,000 screaming Gamecock fans.
In his senior season, Suckup converted all 30 extra point attempts and was 20 of 30 on field goal attempts. Since 2009, Ryan has kicked for 3 NFL teams, the Chiefs, the Titans, and the Bucks.
Number 13.
Hey, my name's Ryan Suckup.
It's 107.5 the game's 30 for 30.
The top 30 Gamecocks football players from Carolina's 30 years in the SEC. Keep listening as we count them down from 30 to 1.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5
the game.
And some earthquake talk today. Some earthquakes in the Midlands yesterday. If that's the case, you need to make sure that your home foundation is taken care of, especially July 4th weekend coming up. Maybe you want to be entertaining. You can't have an earthquake messing up some of your foundation issues. Looks like we're getting some rain the next couple of days too. So look, you need to call Candy Foundation Specialist. 803-424-8380 is the number to call. They are the foundation experts and the crawl space repair experts. So both of these things could be messed up right now. If it rains a bunch the next couple of days, your crawl space could be filling up with water. If you have an open crawl space, you might have standing water under your home right now, and that can be a huge problem. It can create humidity and condensation to make mold, mildew, can get termites in there. It can create musty smells, awful odors from the mold and mildew, and cause health issues for you, such as runny nose, itchy eyes, or coughs. 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from the crawl space, so you need to make sure it's taken care of, and you need to call Canty. 803-424-8380 is the number. And with all this earthquake talk, even if you just want to make sure everything's okay, call them to check out your foundation. And if you walk around your house, look for some of these signs. If you have cracks in your exterior brick, if you've got cracks in your walls or above your windows or door frames, if your doors or windows are sticking, if you've got uneven or bouncy floors, or if you have cracks over your garage door, these are all signs of foundation issues. And again, you need to call Canty, 803-424-8380. They can also do concrete leveling, concrete repair, commercial services, basement waterproofing. This is the time to call them. It's summertime. You're going to want to be entertaining, and you just need to make sure everything is squared away. Again, 803-424-8380. You can find them in Columbia, Greenville, Augusta, Charlotte, anywhere you might be. Canty can help you. So 803-424-8380 is the number to call, or go visit them on the web at cantycanfixit.com.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working an earlier accident. Gardner's Ferry Road, just east of Lower Richland Boulevard. Also, Two Notch Road at North Grampian Hills Road. And some road construction on the shoulder I-20 westbound between Broad River Road and I-26. Could still be slowing things down just a little bit. Some isolated storms today, 87 for the high, but the sun is out right now. It's pretty nice, a little muggy. 75 at 107.5 The Game.
Real people are getting real and lasting pain relief at QC Kinetics.
Who would have thought that I would be in better shape now than after I got out of the Marines at 22? It's great to be active again.
I've played 36 holes multiple days in a row without pain. Everything is great.
Are you tired of living with chronic joint pain? QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged tissue, natural healing agents from your own body, so your body can heal itself the way it was designed, with no pain pills, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Thanks to QC Kinetics, quality of life is just a lot better.
Definitely changed my life.
Call now to see if regenerative medicine could be the answer you've been looking for. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics have proven protocols that can give you lasting relief now, and the consultation is free.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring nurses with up to $10,000 in sign-on bonuses available. Paid overtime, shift diff, and great employee benefits. Visit joinscdc.com for info. Sponsored by SC Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
In today's digitally driven world, the internet has become more than just a convenience or a luxury. Among other things, it keeps family members connected with loved ones, workers connected with their jobs, and students connected with their instructors and lessons. That's why the U.S. government created the Affordable Connectivity Program, also known as the ACP. This program provides eligible low-income families with discounts of up to $30 a month to help pay for their internet service. And here at FTC, we're proud to participate in this important program. FTC urges all eligible households to take advantage of this helpful program. To learn more about the ACP and to see if you qualify, visit acpbenefit.org. Potential applicants can also get more information by calling the ACP helpline at 877-384-2575. That's acpbenefit.org or call 877-384-2575.
From the moment you open the bag, through the low and slow grilling, to the very last bite of food, new Kingsford Signature Flavors hardwood pellets tantalize your senses. Kingsford Signature Flavors are made with 100% natural hardwood and 100% real spices to add a whole new rich, full-bodied flavor and aroma to your cookout. New Kingsford Signature Flavors hardwood pellets. Flavor you can see, smell, and taste. Kingsford.com.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
And what we are talking about is, of course, South Carolina football. Go to the Cool Care Heating and Air text lines. 803-404-6100. Again, Kerry Tharp coming up in a few minutes, so last couple minutes to get your thoughts in. But Matt says, I still look at last year as year 0 for Shane Beamer. This is year 1. Expectations are not too high. Bowl eligibility is enough for me. And I don't really know what that means, that last year was year 0. But I do know what he's saying. Expectations are not too high. Bowl eligibility is enough for me. I hear that, and then I also go back and see that the expectations are 8 or 9 wins. The only thing we're missing, I have not seen people saying we need to win 10 games yet. But I do think the prevailing sentiment is basically, look, bowl game minimum. 7 or 8 wins would be great. Be in the mix for a lot of them. Don't get blown out at all. It is kind of a process. I agree with whoever said it's building, not rebuilding. There's nothing left to rebuild at this point. You've got a good core. You've got young talent. It's not like this is only a senior-led team, and next year you're not sure what you've got in the cupboard. No, you've got a good combination of older transfers. Maybe you only get 1 year Spencer Rattler. Maybe you only get 1 year of Austin Stogner. Maybe these guys are just 1 year mercenaries for the program. But beneath them, you got Jaheim Bell. Maybe he's gone next year. Maybe you're concerned about the tight end position going forward. You're not going to be concerned about the wide receiver position going forward because Josh Mann will be gone. But Juice Wells, Landon Sampson, these guys will be back, and you're going to have high expectations for them. Offensive line, you're not excited about anyway. So the point is, the program is in a good place. So I like the idea of building and not rebuilding. Craig says we don't have the blue chip ratio we need yet. That's absolutely true. But maybe that's part of building. And maybe South Carolina, maybe we look down a couple years and South Carolina is still sticking in the 15 range of national recruiting, 15 to 20 range of national recruiting. And it just, all it leaves them is floating between 6 to 8 wins a year. I'll say 6 to 8 wins a year. Maybe 1 year they sneak up and have a crazy good 9-win season. Maybe 1 year they miss a bowl game. But you just need to be able to see growth, I think, is what I've gotten from your text this morning. And there's no tangible way to say this is what a successful year looks like. Witt says being better may not mean more wins. We eked out some games that we may win comfortably this year and some we may lose. And that's for sure true. I said earlier, just look how a couple plays could change a season. That last minute of against Vanderbilt doesn't happen just like that, where Zeb Nolan comes off the bench. Just like that, you're not going to a bowl game. You're not going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl. You're not having an electric performance in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Your coach isn't getting doused in mayo. Mike Golick's not on TV eating mayo-covered donuts. Jaheim Bell doesn't blow up, score 1 million touchdowns, 1 million yards, and get talked about as one of the best players in the country going into next year. And maybe you don't have Spencer Rattler because they didn't get that national attention and excitement. All these things could happen. It is a very fine line in college football. And to say, to assign numbers to it is really not fair. But it's a radio show, and that's what we do. and that's what we're going to continue to do. And we've got 60-something more days to do it. Again, number 13 today in the top 30 Gamecocks of the SEC era was Ryan Suckup, great kicker. I compared his numbers to Eliot Frye and Parker White, and I asked you for some memories. And I think as we go throughout the rest of the day with Pearson, Jay and Terry and Tommy and Heath all talk about this, I think this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts. 803-404-6100. We'll have all day tomorrow to talk about that. We'll get into some 4th of July talk, what you're going to cook, what you're going to listen to, what you're going to do. But next, we got Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president. We got to make sure we got plenty of time for him. NASCAR coming up this week in a road course in Wisconsin. We'll get some picks, we'll get some takes, and we'll wrap up the Thursday edition of the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And one more look at the traffic conditions out there this morning for you. Garners Ferry Road, just east of Lower Richland Boulevard, still working that earlier accident, as well as Two Notch Road at North Grampian Hills Road. And that road construction that could be messing with the traffic flow just a little bit. They're on the shoulder, I-20 westbound between Broad River Road and I-26. Isolated storms today, evening storms possible tomorrow. 87 for the high today, 83 tomorrow. 75 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
If you suffer from joint pain, from arthritis, or an injury, you know the traditional treatments, pain meds and steroids, and then surgery, right? Hey, it's Bill Gunner with great news. Now there's a better way, and it's here now from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, an advanced, exciting, and natural alternative that can give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen, steroid shots are toxic to your joints, pain meds are addictive, and nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and those old ways are out, and the new ways are in. Regenerative medicine can restore and repair damaged joint tissue using natural biologics. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics Regenerative protocols can address any pain in any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now and schedule your free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today.
It's summertime at Galliana Kia on Greystone. And summertime is the best time to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia. Featuring brand new Kias below MSRP. Like a 2022 Kia Rio LX, just $16,990. All new 2023 Galliana Kia Sportage LX, now in stock. Lease for just $259 per month. Plus, we'll give you exactly what your trade is worth, down to the penny. High mileage, cosmetic issues, unreliable, all trade-ins are welcome. So if you want to get out of your old car and upgrade to a cool new Kia, don't miss the summertime sales event.
You should be driving a Kia from Galliana. Galliana Kia.
New Kias for sale below MSRP. Only at Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 2K1124. Sportage stock number 3K3011. 36 months lease, $39.99 to assigning plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. No security deposit subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
It's the Love Chevrolet Countdown to Gamecock football.
65 days till kickoff.
Your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Get the vehicle you want, not the one you have to settle for. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harson and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's 4 car lengths. Kurt Busch up the racetrack. Chase Elliott coming back to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. Chase Elliott down the backstretch for the final time. A huge lead over Kurt Busch, running in second. Looking for his second win of the 2022 season. He'll get it at Nashville Superspeedway. Chase Elliott wins.
Yo, baby. Good stuff, boys. Thank you, guys.
That was an exciting one for sure.
Sounds like pretty comfortable win for Chase Elliott. Is that what it was at the end?
Say that again.
A comfortable finish for Chase Elliott
At the end, by the time they
like,
finished all of the rain delays and everything like that, but he definitely wasn't the strongest for earlier part of the race. We got Kerry Tharp here to join us in the commentary.
That is right. Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp with us here. And Kerry, did you make it through all the rain delays and everything last week? You enjoy the race in Nashville?
I tell you, my lids were getting pretty pretty heavy there towards the end. And I'm glad we got the A team today on the air.
Absolutely.
I got a little note saying Bill was off somewhere doing something, but to have the A team, the only downside is that Gen 1, and I would have loved to have really accentuated that with Bill on air. But
it's funny how he takes off.
Yeah. Somebody else wins, his lead or Reggie's lead and his lead at second starts shrinking, and then he disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is nothing new.
That's right in the Bill Gunner playbook.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But no, that was a late night in Nashville. Certainly Sunday with several rain delays. I hated it for them, but they persevered. Thankfully they had lights and were able to get it in, and Jen's guy Chase Elliott picks up the win. So she's got to be happy.
I am. I'm 1 point ahead of Bill, so that's a good thing. I'm definitely cherishing that.
Absolutely.
So now it's time to bring you back up.
Kerry, from your perspective, you've dealt with rain delays, I'm sure. What is that like for you? What is like the stress put on the racetrack or all the employees and everything? Like what's the longest rain delay you've had to deal with? And what is all the logistics of having to deal with something like that?
Well, it certainly is not what you hope for. I mean, the worst word in the vocabulary for a track promoter is rain. And that's the worst 4-letter word in my vocabulary. And, the one that comes to mind most recently was 219. We had sold out the race for the Southern 500. And then around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock that afternoon, the skies opened up and it rained for about 4 hours. And, thankfully we got the race in. We didn't start till about almost 10 o'clock and finished up about 2 a.m. But we got it in on that same day. Now, when I was working for NASCAR, I've had several times we've had to stay over and run the next day. And
that's
I know
hard.
some of my colleagues were even in Michigan one year, and the race was scheduled for Sunday, and they didn't get the race. They didn't run the race until Tuesday. So, that's a long grind for not only for the track, but for the fans. I mean, goodness gracious, the fans save up their money, make their plans, to come for 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden, the rains come, and obviously there's nothing we can do about it. But a lot of times they have to wind up missing the race and go back to their homes and go back to work. So that's a tough thing, and certainly that's something that you don't wish upon any track.
No, definitely a short turnaround between that race and then the next one. So it's harder
Oh,
to
yeah.
kind of regroup from that for the teams for sure.
Right, absolutely.
Mhm.
And particularly like if you were across the country and you had a rain delay and had to come back to the East Coast, that makes it even tougher for the truck drivers and the crews and that type of thing. But the drying equipment that NASCAR has at its disposal now is really extraordinary. The air Titans and the jet dryers and some of the other things that they do is much more sophisticated than it was, say, 10 years ago. And a track like Nashville with this concrete surface, they could dry that track in about an hour. So it takes about an hour and a half or so to dry Darlington. But
I was going to ask. Okay.
But if you have lights, that's a big deal in your favor, because NASCAR, I've always knew that NASCAR does not like to start a race if they don't think they can get the whole race in. And I'm a proponent of that. Why run a race when you think you can only get 15 laps in and then postpone it? I think they like to try to get the whole race in, but of course, they need to get to at least halfway to make it an official race. But sometimes if you don't have lights, it's a tough deal. You just run out of time.
Mm-hmm. Mother Nature plays a huge role.
So this
What's
weekend.
That?
No, I was just saying Mother Nature definitely plays a huge role in the planning and execution of all of these races.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so this weekend, another road course, and we were talking about road courses earlier. I'm fascinated by this. I think we got the fact that might have been 1949 was the first ever road course in Nashville or in NASCAR, and they've just become getting more popular, aren't they, Kerry? And drivers are getting better at them.
They really are. That's a great point you bring up. 10, 15 years ago, road courses, they had what they called road course ringers, and they'd bring in drivers that only really could excel on a road course. And but now virtually the entire field is pretty adept at running a road race. And so I think the fans enjoy it. I think the number of road course races has pretty much doubled in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, now we're going to Circuit of Americas, Road America. Certainly the Roval up at Charlotte is a unique track. We go road racing at Indianapolis now. And so I think the teams love it. The drivers love it. And sometimes you get to go to new facilities like the one at Road America, or not new facilities, but new areas to race in. And
new for us or new for them.
Really hadn't had a cup race until I think last year maybe. So, and then the Circuit of America is outside of Austin. I mean, you're exposing yourself to new fans and really making I think an impression on some new fans. But a lot of these drivers have become very, very proficient at running road course races.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting this year, the road course winners, you have Suarez, who hasn't really won. And then you've got Chastain, so it's interesting to see how they're adapting to the new cars in the road courses. So this week's going to be interesting to kind of make those picks on who's going to come away with that win up in Wisconsin.
Oh, I think it will. I mean, Chase Elliott won last year up there,
Mm-hmm.
And so certainly you'd have to look at him as one of the favorites. But I'd say there's a dozen or so drivers that you could say, hey, this guy's got a chance to win up there this weekend. And so I think that makes it interesting, and certainly the fans, I think it makes it interesting for them. And that's a beautiful part of the country this time of year, 4th of July weekend. They'll have a big crowd up there.
It's going to be fun. So what do you think, Patrick?
All right.
We head right to the picks?
Yeah, let's do some picks. Did Bill give you a pick, Jen?
He did. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, he goes last then. I guess let's let Kerry start it off.
Exactly.
Kerry, who you got this weekend?
Well, I'm going to go with a guy who I think is a pretty good road course racer. I think he finished second at at Road America last year. He's looking for his first win this year. I'm going with Christopher Bell to pick up his first win of the season and win Sunday at Elkhart Lake.
I think that's a good pick. He did really well. I think I kind of feel like maybe Chase, comes away with it this time. I'm kind of between him and I'm kind of thinking Chastain. I'm thinking maybe Kyle Larson gets his this year. I'm going to go with Larson. I don't know. I'm hoping he kind of comes out of the slump he's been in.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Who's that leave Bill with?
That leaves Bill with his girlfriend.
Sterling
Denny
Marlin.
Hamlin. Right. Exactly. Sterling Marlin for the win. No, actually, it's Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin. He took Denny Hamlin. Huh?
Of course he did. His safe kick.
Of course he did. He took Denny Hamlin because he saw Denny Hamlin hanging out with Michael Jordan last week.
Pretty much.
There you go.
Looks up to
Gary,
him.
we appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you next
Y'all have a
week.
great
Thanks so much. You too. Happy 4th of July. All right. Good show.
That's it.
One
Yep.
more day. Just Jen and I. We'll carry you through. A lot of 4th of July talk tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody have a good weekend. It's the early game. 107.5 a game.
Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbus.
All right, everybody.
Perfect.
Everybody,
All right.
have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.